micro budget. I have a micro penis.
Hey, Joe, can you hear us?
Hi, Joe.
Can I?
Hola, ¿cómo
Can
está?
I hear us?
Can I hear me?
Can I hear us?
No. You buy. You buy. No.
Whoever can swallow the most Tylenol PMs wins.
I take 4 Excedrin PM and then I jerk off. You can't lose. Everyone wins that game. Except the pillow.
Gosh. Oh, let's see who won the football game. Aside from me, since I won both my fantasy matchups this week. Fucking booyah.
Hey, can you hear us, Joe?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Awesome.
Howdy.
Whoa.
Holy shit, it's 42-16 Tennessee. Wow.
Which one are you?
Oh, this is my backup league. This is just with random people on the internet. But I'm 5-0 now in it.
Tight.
Fucking haven't lost yet.
We are about ready.
Doing way better than I am in my league with the guys.
Even though you shit stomped that dude.
Yeah, I lost my first 3 games, so I'm 2-3.
Owie.
But I beat Vince, and Vince doesn't have a win yet. So ha, Vince. Suck it.
And I can't remember what it was, but it was like, Joe, I miss Joe. I gotta get Joe on the show now. This is great. And so
I don't post too often, but I just kind of like nothing that's really relatable to anybody. Just me. Hopefully.
we look for that though. That's kind of the fun part about this show is it's time spent poorly. So
Well,
it's
I'm gonna look.
What's that?
I'm gonna satisfy my curiosity, and I'm gonna look here
At what?
at Joe's.
Profile?
My Facebook page.
Yeah, here we go.
I submitted the see if you can find out which post it was. This is a fun
It's
game.
probably my last post. It should be the last one I did. I can't look it up.
You don't post too frequently. I like how you set your background up with your guitar back there.
Oh yeah, that's on Facebook too. Probably last year I was starting.
That's the one you
building
built,
it.
isn't it?
Well,
Or
in the
one?
process still. I'm letting it age like beef, I guess. Not done staining, but that's where it hangs, just away from the kids.
It's flavoring. You pour a bottle of scotch on it every year.
Well,
Well, Joe, your kids are cute, man. I'll give you that.
This isn't creepy at all.
No, not at all. I'm just
away.
stalking the fuck out of your Facebook right now. No, your kids are cute, man.
hammer down. Thank you.
And as someone who definitely does not believe that all children are cute, yeah, I that's not something that I just throw out to everybody.
All babies are ugly. Babies are.
Yeah, they are.
come out.
Like a
It's
good
emotional,
90%
but,
of them are, yeah.
I don't think
Every
I've seen
once
it.
in a while, like one will come out.
Annabelle was a relatively cute baby, to be completely honest.
Mara looked like my grandpa Bob.
Not Matthew, I love you and I know you're watching, but Matthew had this like genuine morbid obesity that he like actually had like cheek jowls. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, he was
We called my youngest, or
He was
not my youngest
fat,
now, but
fat.
my middle child, we called him Theodore because he reminded us of Theodore from Alvin and
Chipmunks.
the
Oh,
Chipmunks.
man.
Yeah, because he was just this little like, but then he trimmed, like grew up and trimmed down and like real skinny now. But it was funny watching him as a kid because he was definitely.
See, Matthews, he was super duper fat as a baby, and then he shot up, and he's like in between a growth spurt type thing right now. So he has like these really, really long legs, but his body's still stocky because the rest of him hasn't quite caught up to it yet. He's just getting to that really wonderful stage of adolescence that we all went through where things don't grow at the same speed as everything else.
Yeah, you're misproportionate.
And yeah, I don't miss that.
My head.
I'm still pretty misproportionate. But work with what I got now.
Hey, man.
I look like a stick figure till I was 20. I just this big head.
Yeah, I was
giant dome.
I was all head,
I'm always complaining about why my thighs were so big.
and now I've got goddamn gorilla arms, dude. Like seriously, if I stand and put my arms straight down by my side, my fingertips almost, like just barely, almost reach my knees. My arms are long as fuck.
Donkey Kong over here.
Isn't your wingspan supposed to be your height?
It's supposed to be.
I think
Supposed to
you're
be,
supposed to be able to
but
touch the ground.
I wouldn't be surprised if mine's a little bit bigger because I'm perfectly average height. I'm like, depending on how I posture.
You might have a longer torso than a lower half, or vice versa, whatever it happens to be.
My torso's kind of short.
Well, then that's
honestly,
probably what it is.
but,
That's why
yeah,
that's why your hands can touch your knees.
built like a monkey.
Your orangutan.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Mara must be yelling
Your
at the television.
Tasty beers got me with the burps. She's evil now.
Sorry, sweetie. I'm sorry I can't answer you back. I can't hear you though.
Annabelle was, I think I mentioned this on the last show, but Annabelle was watching that I had it going in the background on the TV, and she was arguing with me about how she's like, that's you on the TV, but that's not the real you because TV's not real. You're real you. That's pretend you.
I remember you telling us this.
Like,
This is
no.
rerun you.
Yeah, this is rerun me now.
Yeah, see, TV me says cocksucker, and real me doesn't say cocksucker.
Unless he stubs his toe or something.
So, cancel culture. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
Sure. I think it's
Bill
awful.
Burr pissed a lot of people off over the weekend.
Yeah,
Speaking of cancel
did
culture,
you,
did.
and that was funny too.
How close it? Like, how much is your finger on the pulse of like entertainment and cancel culture, Joe?
Well, like entertainment wise, probably not that good. Like I really don't know any famous people these days. It wasn't famous 20 years ago. But
So do you know any of the cancel culture stuff that's been going on?
The
Like
what
everybody-
now?
The cancel culture
Like just canceling.
people.
Yeah.
You might want to explain.
anytime
what you
somebody
mean by
does
that.
or says something that the general public doesn't agree
disagrees
with,
with.
like,
Yeah.
oh, he said the N-word on his Twitter account 10 years
So I'm
ago.
grandfathered in on the N-word, so I have a black uncle.
Well, no, I was just using that as a reference.
Right.
somebody
That's a
said
good
something 10 years ago.
Somebody
and
said something 10, 15 years ago, and people are
they
like,
released
oh,
a movie yesterday, but somebody decided to go back on their Twitter and look at it. And now, oh God, fuck this guy. He's a racist because he said something 10 years
Yeah.
ago. Well, that was 10 years ago, and people grow and change.
It's typically something that's just a
Product of the time.
uncolorful statement that is both partially a product of the time and partially
it's
Right.
it's very
it's
largely
partially
Partially
said.
the product of being
We had-
younger and stupider.
We
That
also
too.
there's
too.
that, and I think we also had a period of time where there shocking content or shock culture stuff was
Yeah.
more acceptable, like widely acceptable. People like embrace that stuff.
Mhm.
A movie like Van Wilder wouldn't have made a career for Ryan Reynolds today,
Yeah.
like it did at the time.
I'm surprised he hasn't been canceled for something yet, because just because
He's so wholesome. They're gonna have to find him punching a baby in the
in
dick
the
or
nugget,
something.
just like.
But so I have two things on the cancel culture that are relevant that actually popped up here in the last 24, 48 hours. One of them was the Bill Burr thing. I think it's really funny how he's 100% right. It's loudmouth white women have taken after these things, and they're
It's true, but his monologue was funny, but it also wasn't. He wasn't breaking any new ground with it. It wasn't like he was
no.
It's not like he hasn't been saying
Talking
it for
out of
at
school.
least
Yeah,
5
no.
years.
right. And so it was like nothing he said to me when I was watching the monologue was surprising. It's just like these people tune into these things to find a problem with it.
Yeah. So the other one, and this was actually coincidentally enough last night, I was getting myself settled for the evening and I went upstairs and Mom and Dad were watching old Dean Martin roasts, of which there are a shit ton on
Oh yeah,
Prime
all of that
Video.
stuff is
there are.
Which
really,
I was like, oh damn, I had no idea.
really.
And it was they
Some
were
of the shit they say to Sammy Davis Jr. on those is abhorrent.
so they were roasting Red Fox, which was lots of fun.
Terrible.
I only watched probably about 10 minutes of it, but it was hysterical. And Don Rickles was up there and he's going through the dais and he says something about one person and he says something about Nipsey Russell and he says something about somebody else. And then he stops and they're all in stitches laughing and he stops and he goes, wait, no, I didn't mean to say that about you. God, when you get a bunch of you on the stage together, it's hard to tell which one of you is which.
Wow.
And it was like, yeah, you definitely like, you couldn't, even on the roast that they do on Comedy Central now, you couldn't, you'd ruffle some feathers with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those are written really tame now by comparison too. They're usually just tailored at like slamming people like people's personalities.
Yeah, they don't really
or
they're
certain characteristics of a person.
they're relatively toothless.
Yeah.
In terms of a quote unquote roast.
Unless it's a white girl talking.
I find cancel culture interesting because, like, for example, back in what was it, 2009 or something like that, that's when Mel Gibson got canceled the first time.
Yeah.
Was that the was that the
yelling at his wife or something?
Where
I
was going to say, was that the one where he called the cop sugar tits, or was that the one where he was caught on the phone
like,
yelling at his wife?
It was consecutive. It was like it all happened over like
I mean, he
the
went
span
off,
of a few weeks.
Okay,
he went
okay.
off on the cop and the Jews and his wife.
He was having a tough go.
I mean, he was on a bender. It was like a 3-day
yeah,
what,
it was
race-a-thon.
He was having
I don't even know
man.
what you would call that.
He got whatever Charlie Sheen had at the time.
Yeah, he dipped into the tiger's blood.
But
he was hip deep in prossies at the time.
But he's made this quasi kind of comeback, and like a lot of people forgave him initially of it. Like I know he's close friends with Jodie Foster. She didn't like have a problem.
She
with
put him in that movie, The Beaver, the one with the puppet.
Right,
That's a good movie.
Afterwards.
Yeah, that was not long after too.
No, not very long after at all. And then then he just kind of like it was not much of anything for a while.
He does. I've seen him turn up in a few what you would consider like direct-to-video style B-type movies.
The Gringo is when he basically kind of made his comeback.
Yeah,
and then he kind of started to pop up in these other movies, and then Daddy's Home 2, the sequel to Daddy's Home with Mark Wahlberg. And,
and he was the bad guy in the third Expendables movie.
The
third one.
Yeah,
it was the third one.
I think it was the third one.
And so now he's A-listing again with this this new Santa Claus one.
I don't know if I'd call that A-listing.
Well, okay,
but it's
its own unique picture.
That Bloodfather movie was awesome.
Yeah, it was. That was great. I really liked. I watched that on a whim.
I'd watch that again.
That was a good movie.
And I was
Bloodfather. I think it's still on Netflix.
I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, that was one that I think you brought up like a year and a half after I'd already seen.
It's a good show.
Yeah,
and it's classic Mel Gibson. Like he is.
It just kind of snuck its way into the top, like into trending on Netflix at one point. Was it when COVID hit? I think that's what happened.
It was just one of those ones that snuck up on me. I was like, "Damn, thanks for suggesting that."
Yeah,
but in turn,
you really do know me, Netflix.
It's really weird to see who
it hits,
who it hits, and who it sticks to. More importantly, because like Mel Gibson, he was not where he was in his like Braveheart, Lethal Weapon type in the 90s and stuff. He wasn't there anymore when he got quote unquote canceled in the first place. He was already kind of tapered off from there.
He made his biggest movie though.
He's come back.
Well, he had made his biggest movie, Passion of the Christ.
Yeah,
talking about?
Yeah.
And then Apocalypto came out right around the same time.
I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't what did it.
There's Jim Caviezel like borderline got blacklisted.
That's what got him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
sought after.
Yeah.
Why do you think Jim Caviezel's doing Hallmark movies, man?
The big thing is that he got drugged and that's what caused his little month of
Tirade.
holy shit,
Yeah.
what happened to Mel Gibson thing.
Hmm.
Is that he got somebody slipped something into his. He had these weird creams that he thought were good for him, and he rubbed them on his arms. Like there's a whole article talking about him
I would
playing
like to see
poker
that.
and rubbing that shit on his arms. And they said they put something in that, and he
Oh wow.
he fucking went nuts for a month, and
So
he's going off on the Jews. Oh my God, the Jews! Pulling his fucking hair out,
he
yelling.
looked genuinely crazy.
Yeah.
We're hiding
like-
in the walls.
Lost
Another
it.
beer.
And then he's like
Joe's getting another beer.
going off on black people. Like he never
Yeah.
had any problem with black people before that. Like where did that come from?
Yeah, Danny Glover.
Yeah.
So
like it, and not even just that. Like
I know.
he just,
Yeah, there was
like he'd never had any,
never an instance
It
where
was-
he had,
and it was
like,
just all of a sudden, and then it
Out of
just
nowhere.
went away.
and it was crazy.
and
Um,
And so the theory is that because he did Passion of the Christ, he insulted a bunch of people, and they drugged him.
Hmm.
And I mean, it goes right into that Project Bluebird thing we were talking about.
yeah,
You know, that shit came out, and
using
they found a bunch of different drugs that did a bunch of different things, and they refined them, and they could make people do whatever they wanted based on the chemicals they
Yeah.
inserted into them, and
So
fucked him
sticky
right up.
thing.
the other one that I had sticking was James Gunn,
Oh yeah.
because
He's back on
he
track.
was, I mean, dude, after the Guardians movies and everything,
But
like,
wasn't that just a tweet? That was like one tweet.
no,
right?
it was a series. There,
He had a lot of.
if
but
you've
they were,
never
like,
read them, you should
fucking
Google it
old.
because they're really like, yeah, they're really old, and I don't agree with cancel culture, but I also like it was something that I have a little self-awareness.
But didn't he have a following at the time he was doing it too, though? So it was it was product of the time
He's
as well.
been,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
he's been
Twitter
But
was
he was
well, he
also,
cut his-
was
he
also
cut his
like
teeth in-
25 years old.
he cut his teeth in
Right.
trauma, you know, which their whole thing is just disgusting, overt envelope pushing type of stuff.
Yeah, have you ever seen Class
And-
of Nukem?
yeah,
High?
well,
Like,
you
it's
know, watch
fucking
any old
wild.
trauma movie. They're over the top, and they embrace the shit out of it. But no, there was like weird things. Most of them were harmless, but there were some that were just like, I don't understand how you can work into, like, if you can work it into a comedy bit, like I think it's Dave Chappelle has the bit about the child molesters and
Right.
how they must be onto something because everybody knows how evil it is, everybody knows how horrible it is and how much trouble you get in, but they still keep doing it. So it must just be that good.
Yeah.
And that's the punchline to the joke. And it's a
Right.
really dark, horrible joke, but in that kind of context, it can at least you can
It
make
paints
it,
it in
you
a
can
light
make it
that's-
work.
Yeah, right.
His stuff was literally just like tweets relating to sex with babies and stuff. It was weird and off-putting, and I didn't see the point or the justification for it. But again, these were like 10 years ago.
And I'll,
he
and I'll
was like-
say at the
He was
time,
learning how to direct movies, and he was trying real hard to be funny.
Twitter
And
was young,
It was
Very.
and so
thing.
people at the time, it wasn't so much about what I'm eating or this
Yeah.
or that, and people still do it now. They still they try to catch on something that's trending.
Yep.
But also a way to get follows at the time wasn't a hashtag type thing. It was more about what kind of funny thing you can say
Yeah.
that gets someone's attention. That's like, oh, that's funny. I'll
Uh-huh.
follow this guy.
I'm gonna grab these eyes.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
It was
some
Twitter
of my
was
some of
genuinely
my
in its
old
infancy.
tweets, I don't want to like dig those up right now. I was talking to you about this earlier today, like our Facebook memories that crop up.
Mhm.
There's really like only about a 3 to
Good
5 year
one.
window where those are good, but then anything beyond that, like I've had stuff come up from 10 years ago, and I read like and I know at the time I wrote it, I thought I was just on point with
Mhm.
whatever I said, and it's
Mhm.
probably about 80-20, not 80% cringe, maybe 20%
But is
decent.
it cringe of like, oh man, I can't believe
Like-
I posted that to the world? Or is it like you're talking about dead babies and sex with
No,
babies? That's
yeah,
kind of
no,
shit
I'm-
that you just don't ever need to put out there under any circumstances whatsoever. Like there's a difference. between the
Mostly-
two.
I like
Mostly-
a good dead baby joke.
There are some really solid ones. There are some really good dead baby jokes.
Mostly poor.
There aren't any good fucking baby jokes though. There's not one. Like you can't show me one good fucking baby jokes.
No, not
There
really.
just isn't one.
Someone's
might
gonna-
be-
Sorry,
someone's
James Gunn.
there might
someone's
be
gonna
there might
find this one.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say there might be one out there. But anyway, so
Tweet the
again,
show. Oh.
yeah, find us at
All right,
TSP.
I got nothing there.
Your baby
Prove me
fucked up
wrong.
jokes.
Prove me wrong.
So, oh man, my son is watching this. Oh, damn it. I love you,
Remember
Matthew.
that, Matthew. There's not any good baby fucking jokes.
Stay on safe sites, Matthew.
Yeah. Be careful. The
Stay
internet
off
is
Twitter.
the
It's not
internet
good
is a
for
dark
anyone.
and scary place. But he was like untouchable after the Guardians movies and even some of the other stuff that he'd done,
Sure.
like Slither and that kind of stuff.
We're tapping him
He
for this.
was-
We're tapping him for that.
Yeah,
It's like,
he was a hot fucking commodity, and Disney dropped him like a bad habit as soon as that stuff came out.
Yeah.
And then 14 months went by, and
maybe we overreacted.
he had already been signed on to do the new Suicide Squad movie because DC was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And dead babies, sure, bring them on. That'll fit good in a Suicide Squad movie.
People make mistakes.
Well-
And that's, I think, the part that people are forgetting. It's like all these people that are passing all this judgment oftentimes have worse fucking skeletons in their closet than the people that
It's the
taking it
distraction
out on.
game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, one
this
guy
guy
can't
did it publicly.
Look at
I do it at parties with rich people.
look at a lot of the movies from the 80s and how like liberally they use the word faggot.
Yeah.
It was just part of the lexicon back then.
Retarded is
they're not
still
talking
within
about
the last
piles
10
of
years.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I saw a movie the other day where they were just throwing retarded around like it was somebody. What was it?
The Hangover. He's a retard.
Yeah, no, seriously.
And there was another one that was I mean, they just tossed it around like it was nothing at all, like old SNL movies and stuff.
It isn't.
It's just a word.
I'm going to say this right now. It's just a fucking
just
word,
a word.
people.
Just
if
a
it
word.
hurts you, maybe
and we made
maybe
it
that
just,
has something
and
to
we
do
made
with
it
you.
just a word in the 80s, and then we ran away from that, just like delivering more context.
You know
It's
what?
like
I saved
the,
something not too long ago.
it's
Let me
like
see if I
the-
can find it. I want to read it verbatim.
I mentioned the Michael Scott quote earlier before we were on the air, but it's the Michael Scott line from The Office of, you don't call retarded people retards. You call your friends retards when they're acting retarded. Like that's
Right.
Yeah. But yeah,
I have an example of a guy who it hasn't stuck to yet, and I don't know that it ever will.
Okay.
Marky Mark.
Now
yeah,
you
he fucking beat a dude like
he beat an
he
Asian
beat a dude till a dude was a retard.
and like the eye came out like
no shit.
Yeah.
When did
Yeah,
this happen?
dude, like the 80s, like 88.
Oh, like Funky Bunch days.
was it 88?
something like that. It's
It was
such a long
it
time
was
ago.
an
back when he
even
was in his
80s
Calvin
year.
Kleins and
Yeah.
stuff.
It predated him like blowing up. But yeah, he was
Really?
Yeah, he beat a dude till the dude was a
and
retard.
it was a hate crime. There was like some
And
There was-
everybody's just like, whatever, just don't cast Asians in Marky Mark movies.
there
Or
were
something like,
anti-Asian
really?
slurs involved.
No shit.
oh yeah.
Mind
And
blown.
and about once a year
That's wow.
it comes up.
I have not
once
heard
a year,
this.
but it came up earlier this year. It comes up every couple of years, especially when they're doing like a takedown of something of similar
Huh.
iron. Then someone's like, "Well, what about Marky Mark?"
Huh.
Like
then-
he's got burgers.
And then he just kind of like,
Say hi to
Yeah.
your
Shrugs
mother
it
for
off.
me.
He shows somebody
He's
his
like,
abs.
"What?"
He's like, yeah, but have you seen these? And I eat Wahlburgers, baby.
They're only this big, It's
He's like, "Yeah."
Man, I had no idea. This has
He's like,
blown
"By
my
the
mind.
way,
That's interesting.
I'm Mark Wahlberg."
Here, I saved this like months ago.
We've reminded everybody again. It's too bad we don't have any listeners.
Yeah, we have some.
well, Asians are only this big.
You know, the euphemism treadmill that requires schools to come up with a new phrase meaning mentally retarded every 3 to 5 years after the previous one inevitably becomes a playground insult? This is a similar process, except in the reverse direction. 1. Special Snowflake decides that the currently accepted terms used to describe them are not special enough. 2. Special Snowflake invents a new term which is more special. 3. Special Snowflake describes themselves with this new term and insists that this makes them more special than the people who describe themselves with the previous term. 4. The new term gains more acceptance and more people begin using it who would previously have used the old term. 5. After enough people have adopted the new term, special snowflakes begin to feel that the specialness of the term has been diluted and it is no longer as special as it used to be. Return to step 1. So
Yeah.
This is the same thing.
No, it is.
It's the same. Like, it's why we have to say people of color now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Or
at the risk of alienating our non-audience and saying something that might be like, that's the people of color, African American, Black American, Native American, Indigenous American. Like that's exactly what it is right there.
Yeah, like everybody has to feel extra special in whatever way that they need to feel it. And it's like, at some point, just call yourself an American and just be like everybody else. Yeah. Like, none of us are special. We're all gonna die someday. So just fucking be. Tend your garden.
That unique.
Right. And I get, like, we're all fucking white guys. But, just fucking hang out at home, tend your garden. The fucking rabbits are gonna come back, man. They are. They're gonna come back.
See, I believe it's all, a lot of it had to do when legitimizing complaining.
Yep.
It's somebody complained about something and somebody actually got something for it, and another person saw that and then they tried it. And there's this domino effect of complaining. Well, all I have to do is fucking complain. And now we're here with complaining about Trump.
Complaining
in the old
not
days,
just complaining, but offense.
And an offense, you have every right to be offended. You can be offended by anything you want. Go right ahead. Yeah. Be offended, but don't change my life. Don't change my life from your offense. That's where it gets wrong. That's where this cancel culture comes from.
No, you're 100%. You're 100% right. It was in the old days. The way that I always describe it is, you're not allowed to have a problem with something anymore. In the old days, you were allowed to. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And people will be like, "Oh, well, he's got some strong opinions or whatever." But you might your neighbors.
I think that's bullshit, and they're like, "No,
your neighbors,
no,
your neighbors."
I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, exactly. Your neighbors you're an asshole in relation to that. They might remember to not bring that topic up at dinner next time, but they didn't fucking rake you over the coals on Twitter and demand your head on a pike because you don't agree with.
I got in a good old fashioned argument with my neighbor a few years ago. He was getting in an argument with my wife because he was spraying our dogs with the hose, and because they were barking, but his dogs were barking, and so there was this whole fucking back and forth. And I came out and started yelling at him because he was yelling at Nicole, and then he, I can't remember. I think she said she was gonna. He goes, call the police. And she goes, I will. I'll report it. I'll report that you're abusing my dogs. But then we go to go inside, and I'm like, I hope one of these days, I'm an asshole. I hope one of these days I'm out here and you fall down mowing your lawn. I'm just gonna walk right in the house,
dude.
Because he's like 70, something like that.
Make him think about his own mortality. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. I hope you fall down.
You have your heart attack mowing the lawn, and I'll just go inside.
Dude, it's like we were talking in the chat about the people when you were in line at the self-checkout thing. That was like a moment of clarity for me of like, man, I got to keep that one in my back pocket.
The fucking self-checkout.
Have an altercation with somebody in the store, and they do something to you. End the conversation by just staring at them and saying, you're really lucky I'm not a murderer. That'll fucking throw somebody's day off.
You're lucky I don't rape.
Because that's not a threat. So they can't, try to, he said he was going to hurt me or blah, 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 blah.
No,
it's just an
I'm
observation.
Not a murderer. That's
I'm not.
No,
so
I said I'm not. But
if you were to do that to a murderer, this situation might go differently.
That murderer might wait for them out in the parking lot. I mean, that's like the.
Oh man, that'll get their fucking attention.
Do you think that's where like murder comes?
You say the word murderer to a complete stranger in a grocery store, you've got their undivided attention. They'll remember that altercation for
all
weeks.
The murders are just basically guys making up for fucking a bitch in the fucking store somewhere.
Yeah, some lady that. Sir, you
Excuse
cut.
me, sir.
No, I didn't.
She was ahead of you.
I took a step right because I'm old
one
enough
step
that
to
I
the
can't
right
fucking read from that far away anymore.
To look at something for a second, then step back in line, whilst away for the momentary period of time.
I should kick your
She
husband's
rolled up
ass
with
for
her
letting
thing
you
of
out of the house
things.
without a
But
fucking
is
hat on.
are my 2 things of fucking strawberries gonna hold you up that fucking much?
I'm paying
Please.
with a debit card.
Please,
It's
go ahead.
2020.
Go in front of me, fucker.
Oh,
Let me
Then-
cough on you.
Then she had the fucking nerve that not the gal that I cut in front of. She didn't say anything to me. She just wheeled on by and took her rightful place in front of me.
It
Fuck
was
her.
it was the
It was
lady
the other
who was
lady,
so
like,
offended.
Yeah, she goes, sometimes it's hard to tell, like as if to justify my fucking
Like it's
heinous
okay. You
actions.
just made a mistake. It's okay.
it's
Whoops
okay.
on you.
Sometimes it's hard to tell. I go,
Some
I
days
just like,
people are lucky I didn't need lighter fluid.
I'm just like, yeah.
so heard of this Karen? Like Karen, all of a sudden Karen. What is a fucking Karen?
It's
That's just-
that lady. That lady was a Karen.
That
Those
lady was a
ladies
Karen.
just always speak up. They just gotta pipe up because there's injustice in the world. Karen wants
That's-
to talk to your manager. That
Karen
lady-
is probably the heart of the cancel culture that you're talking
She
about.
is. Yeah, she wants to talk to the manager because
And-
she wasn't treated fairly. She's that
Yeah.
white girl that Bill Burr was talking about.
Admittedly, I'm a little over the whole Karen thing. Just because I
It
think
fits
it's-
into the cancel culture though,
it's- I
because
think
that's basically what it.
I think it's a little overplayed.
Essentially,
this
they're
point.
trying to
Oh,
cancel
for the
those
people,
women.
yeah, the people that use it as a thing.
Yeah.
Calm
Um,
down.
Well, the
It's-
word
it's-
Karen objectifies it. Puts a name onto an individual instead of just cancel culture. Karen, well, just she is part of cancel culture.
I
She-
feel
she
the
is
same
one of
way.
the main reasons, and so I mean I know a few Karens, but they
Oh, yeah.
seem to be spot on with that. If your name is Karen, your views are pretty much what Karen means.
I've kind of gotten to the place with Karen that I am with the boomer thing of the okay boomer. Just like, you know what? Fuck you.
Man, they're taking that away from our parents too. By the way, the people that 'cause
Yeah.
we're not the boomers.
No.
I saw a
Right.
thing the other day. Apparently, boomers own like 58% of everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe you should leave those fucking people alone because they can
Yeah, what-
actually cancel you. They
Why
own,
do you
like-
think COVID is a huge thing? Because it can
Oh.
take out all the baby boomers.
It'll
That's the
kill 'em.
only reason. But
It'll kill them.
Yeah.
propaganda.
Oh, my dad's really like he's a baby boomer, born in '54. So he's like
Oh man, yeah.
he's very COVID aware.
Right.
Like,
And
so he's in that. I'd be more prone to probably be safer if I was in that age demographic.
I don't know.
And you would
I-
be right to be.
I
But for
But I'm
people
not
who
going to
aren't
say.
in
But I'm
that
not going to
bracket,
tell everybody else to toe the line just for my benefit. I mean, if you're going out in public and sure,
If I own 58% of the country, by God, I would be telling everybody to.
well, yeah, sure.
One nation under my heel. I thought that was a good line I used the other day.
I like that. That's good. Put that on a fucking billboard.
They do, but that's the reason
I will
why.
in 2024 when I run for fucking president. One nation under my heel.
The reason why is houses and shit were so much less expensive back then.
yeah, dude.
My wife's grandma's house probably would sell for, well, probably now post COVID, like over 400 grand. Built in '64. There's a nice giant shop.
Yep.
It's at the time and it's this huge long double lot. And I saw the price for it at one point, $16,400
That's
new
absurd.
in 1964.
Yeah.
Believe it. My mother.
It just makes you want to vomit.
My mother-in-law lives in one of the oldest houses in Clarkston.
Why can't you kids get ahead in life?
Yeah.
Well, because I have a fucking $1,300 mortgage.
Right.
What was yours?
Because you people
Oh, just
bankrupt the
300.
fucking country.
Oh man, if I'd have paid $1,300 for a month for my house, I'd have had it paid off in a year.
Yeah,
Fuck you, man.
Yeah.
wouldn't that be
I'm
something?
paid off by
Uh-huh.
the time I'm fucking
You got to think they were paying that shit off at like $20 a pop. You know, took a long time still.
Well, yeah, they weren't making there's
It just depended on the income bracket.
Yeah, it
but
depended
could
on
you
the income
imagine
bracket
paying
and everything.
20?
But can you imagine your mortgage being
I'd be going to
$235?
Cancun twice a year
Right,
too.
dude.
Yeah.
What's your mortgage? $235. Fuck.
What'd you do for your vacation? A kilo of coke off of 2 strippers.
No, even dude,
They
even
can
my
be homes, too.
even my parents' house. And
How'd you finish it? I hunted the strippers.
They were born
It's
in
great.
they were both born in 59 and 60.
Yeah.
Or they actually, I think they might have both been born in 60. My mom and my stepdad anyway, but they bought their house in 2000, and just the difference in the markets between then and now. Like, they've made improvements to the house. They put a nice fence in the backyard, and they've done, a few things to it, but they have not done anywhere near.
We bought a house
justify-
in 2003 in Moscow, and Moscow is expensive compared to Lewiston.
Yeah, it is.
But in 2003, it was like a 3-bedroom house, 1 level. It was it's still one of my favorite floor plans for a 1 level house. But 3 bedrooms, 1 3/4 bath, and it was $130,000.
Yeah, my parents probably paid around.
We sold it in 2 years for
109.
$155,000.
Yeah.
And
Their house now, if they were to put it on the market, which I've been trying to talk to them about doing because they don't need all the space, and it would be smart for them to do, they could sell it now for like $249,000. Like, it's literally over double. It's insane.
Yeah.
But they also live like it's 8th Street. It's super close to the high school. It's right. Yeah, it's a really good location.
right.
That factors into it too.
You're only advantageous to sell and then buy something now if you've had what you've had for a good chunk of time to pay it down.
Yeah.
And obviously, and then
Right now, it's good.
in your house value up. Yeah. If we'd have bought our house 10 years ago and we had it paid down, like 10 years paid into it, it'd be perfect time to fucking find a house right now.
Yeah.
Because the
Go
value
get
would have.
something. Well, not right now. I was going to say,
COVID.
but then
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so to circle back, but then you look at guys like a good example, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name, if it's Delia or Delia or whatever.
Oh,
Chris.
I just call him Predator.
Okay.
Predator
So,
Delia.
Yeah, Predator Delia.
Chris D'Elia,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a stand-up comedian.
Well, he's nobody now.
Well, he's a
done,
sex criminal
he's
now.
pretty much done so. He wasn't high enough up the echelon
No, he most certainly was not. But he is an interesting example because he is so canceled that Zack Snyder has a movie coming out that's like a zombie movie type
Yeah, they
thing.
recast
And
Tig
it was
Notaro to play the character
done-
that he was going to play.
They were done filming. They were in post-production, and they went back
Yeah,
and removed him fucking from the movie. Like,
Yeah.
that's
they're like, "Fuck you, Chris D'Elia. We're going to hire Tig Notaro. She's got no breasts, and
she's as
fuck you."
androgynous as they
Yeah.
come, except for like maybe Tilda Swinton, but Tilda Swinton's much better looking than Tig Notaro.
Tig Notaro's a good comedian. Though.
She is funny. But
I don't say that a lot about female comedians,
I
but
don't know
she's
who
one of the
that
good
is.
ones.
She's
got kind of a dry.
I'm not a huge fan, but she's not.
I get her comedy.
Yeah.
I don't like walk in and I'm like, but I understand her comedy versus
I wouldn't go to one of her shows.
understanding Amy Schumer.
Oh,
Well,
geez, I wouldn't fuck either one of them with
Amy
a stolen
Amy
dick.
Schumer's horrible.
Nope, that makes 3. That's a trifecta. I wouldn't
but,
fuck with a stolen dick.
No, like, and again, like you said, he's nobody. Like, he's straight up dunzo for doing essentially the exact same thing that Drake does.
Oh yeah.
It's known about.
Grooming.
It's tough. It's discussed. Grooming, regular close friendships with girls. There was I saw something because there was an interesting and timely article on Reddit the other day about
Drake's not as aggressive.
No,
He's subtle.
he's very subtle about it.
He's subtle, and that's where D'Elia is
Wow,
like.
I don't care.
But
No.
if you're
no, I know.
but if you're
I
a
mean, I get
grown
he's not doing it on the Senate
but if
floor
you're
like
a
Biden,
grown
but
but if you're
like,
if
I
you're a
don't care.
grown dude who strikes up a friendship with a 15-year-old girl and throws her an 18th birthday party instead, like, dude, hello.
plans it when she's 16.
Yeah, like, and again, this
Set
is
the date. Set the date.
it's kind of like it has the Weinstein vibe to it, where it's
Yeah.
everybody knows about it, but nobody really just talks about it for some reason. So
Its time will come.
I hope so.
I think.
I really hope so. He's a fucking piece of shit.
Or he'll stop. Or he'll
Gross
stop
ass.
doing it.
Gross.
You don't think his time
motherfucker.
will come?
Nope.
But who would have thought Weinstein would come?
Weinstein's was coming. Weinstein's an ugly dude.
He is an
And
ugly
he was
dude,
getting
but
to
it
the-
took
he-
forever.
Yeah, but he was getting to the end of his usefulness, and he was getting old.
That's true.
Like he was
Cosby.
Cosby was getting old, and he
Cosby.
wasn't towing the line. He was telling him not to be, name your kids normal names, go to school,
Right.
fucking
Don't swear
be
on
respectable.
stage.
Don't swear on
don't,
stage.
Don't
He
further
wasn't
the
towing
negative
the
black
line.
stereotypes.
Right.
And what did they do? They fucked him. I mean, he got what he deserved.
Another
But they
comic
protected
took him
him
down.
for
I was
a
going to
long
say
time.
Hannibal Buress
Yeah.
outed not to sound.
He'd been outed, but he was
This
like,
is-
"What the fuck is up with Bill Cosby not getting fucking?"
He
This
said
is-
that for years.
Yeah, he had been banging
before-
that drum.
It had nothing to do with Hannibal
Him-
Buress and everything to do with they finally dropped his protection
Right.
when he stopped.
Well, Hannibal Buress finally hit a level of popularity too, a
Yeah.
level of fame that
Yeah.
it paid enough to.
But I don't know. It's something that it really fascinates me. Like I was saying earlier at the beginning of this, is finding who it sticks to and who it doesn't, because there seems to be like a genuine just roll of the dice
Oh, for sure.
of who winds up not getting crucified for it.
Harvey only had as much usefulness as he had. And when he stopped being useful, they kicked him to the curb.
Then it was
Cosby
then
was
it was
getting
okay
old.
to.
He was
Yeah,
getting more
but see,
crotchety.
I have to at least play devil's advocate on that, because if they know that kind of thing is going on, and Harvey's part of this inner circle of people who he's not the only abuser, he's just the one who got outed because he had, quote, outlived his usefulness. They're still not going to want him to get outed, because it shines that light on, well, this is a predatory industry. So what about, these other people? I would think that they would not want to burn the bridge of him using out his usefulness for no other reason than just for that reason. Then it shines a light on a really nasty underbelly of their business that they would just assume never talk about.
That makes sense. But
Like I said, just devil's advocate, but because I think that there is a lot of truth to that.
I think it falls under
Miramax was folding. There were a lot of other moving parts in play.
Yeah.
that doesn't fit the Cosby thing.
No, it
But
doesn't.
for him, I think it goes for sacrificial lamb. Like somebody had to go down.
Somebody's had to roll.
And I mean, as soon as he, like, look at how he was not a month before, and then as soon as he gets out there, like, oh, he's got a walker. Oh God, he put on like 15 pounds. Oh, he can barely walk. Oh,
Geriatric.
Harvey. Oh, what happened to Harvey? Fuck. Oh,
Well, I always just
Poor-
kind of took
poor
that.
fella.
I just always kind of took that as desperate attempts for not necessarily sympathy, but to make himself seem less threatening, if that makes sense.
it was. And it was so he'd end up in some minimum security
Yeah,
country club prison, if he even got prison. I mean,
he's getting prison.
he'll probably end up wearing an ankle bracelet and living at home in some fucking ranch or something for the rest of his life. If he even survives very long. But he got to live his life and fuck 17 to 25-year-old Hollywood
Aspiring
starlets
starlets for decades.
And they're like, Harvey, you need to
Oh,
Steens and Steins.
yeah.
you need to pay your dues now, Harvey. And he probably was just like, okay, I'll take the rap this time. And then people stop looking. I mean, take a look at that speaking of Epstein, that fucking Netflix thing about Epstein.
Uh-huh.
Did you watch that?
No.
It barely scratches the surface.
That's what I'd heard. That's
That's why I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
why I haven't watched
it just didn't seem like it had anything
not
of
worth-
substance
it
in
seemed
it.
like-
to-
It's
Wasn't
not
it?
even worth your time.
Episodes of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Episodes. I watched the first episode, and it's
I
Yeah.
watched the first one and I was like,
I didn't
this
think
is
I
all
finished.
stuff I've
Yeah,
seen
it's
before.
like this.
just surface level shit.
Yeah,
It's
it's
almost
not
it's kind of it's disgusting to watch in a sense. It's
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't want to know about it. That's how ugly it was. You don't even want to know about it. Maybe that's one reason, it's evil.
No, it stuff like that really messes with me. It's one of the reasons why sometimes when we talk about the conspiracy stuff, I get a little bit reserved about it, I guess I would say. Because do you really want to live in a world where that kind of shit, like,
You don't have a choice.
well, I mean, you always
live
have,
in that
you
world.
always have a choice. You can take the easy way out, as a lot of people so often do. But I mean, not to be dark, but seriously, like, who want,
Yeah.
it genuinely, not to be overly dramatic, but it like genuinely shakes your faith in humanity as a whole. Of like, what does anything
that's
even
your
matter?
problem. Like you just don't have any, and then there's nothing to shake.
I've tried.
Get rid of that humanity.
I
You
can't.
try to imagine the uglies of man, and it's uglier than what anyone can imagine.
Yeah.
Well,
I tried.
guess-
I tried to be that misanthropic, but I just can't pull it off.
what I could understand is what's the point in knowing about it if there's nothing you can do about it?
Yup.
Because there isn't anything you can do about it.
Nope.
Those people are just going to be out there.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm constantly saying, just tend your garden.
Mhm.
Just
Don't
fix what you can.
Don't put any more bad out into the world because there's enough of it as there is. I tell that to the kids all the time.
Get active locally. Find a club.
Just don't.
Make a club.
You don't need to
start
go
a
out,
club.
You don't know.
Get your shit together
you don't need
locally.
to go out there and fucking be Mother Teresa to make the world a better place. But everybody can do very, very minimal things to not make it worse than it already is.
Like I let that bitch cut in front of me the other day at the store.
Oh man, I'd have shanked her.
See, you did the wrong thing.
I'd have shanked her.
No,
I'd
you
have been like, no, ma'am, actually, I did not.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying shank her, but you should have put her in her place.
I should have
Been
said
like,
something,
You know what?
but
I took a step to my right to read the fucking cover of a magazine. You need to mind your own business.
Yeah.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Hold your shit.
Put
It's
it all.
2 spots in line, woman.
Put it all in a little bag. Put it in your grocery cart right there.
I think the most infuriating thing was all I had was 2 things. Like,
I know. Like
why-
she should have just shut her mouth.
Just keep your fucking mouth shut at
Yeah.
that point. He's got to, like, even if you think like you're going to go home thinking I fucking cut the line.
Yeah.
Be pissed at me all you want, but know that all I have is 2 fucking crafts of
Hey man,
fucking
Yeah.
maybe she's
strawberries.
But you let her live a lie now.
Right. Yeah. No, she's going to
And
go home
you're still
thinking
mad
and
about
believing.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, you're the only person you know is real.
Right. Say that again.
You're the only person that you know is real.
That's funny. You say that. When I was a kid, when I'd go home from like playing with friends and stuff, I was
Like, how do I know
I
any
had
of them
such
are
a super ego about myself. It's like I just figured those kids were just waiting for me to play with them next time. Like they just go home and go in stasis.
Oh, it's like being the
Like-
protagonist in your own story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
I joke about that a lot, but I cannot get on board. Like I would love for that to be true.
Oh,
but
I didn't
cannot
think like
jump on solipsism. Like you can't disprove it, so it's always kind of nagging. But I just can't get on board. Like I just don't think so.
Yeah. No. It's an interesting,
But I like to throw it in people's
It's-
faces
yeah.
every once in a while just to fuck with them.
it's another one of those interesting concepts that I don't think really what is that?
does not hold water.
What is that? What is that?
Looks like a pizza.
I can't tell from
Matthew,
Your
what
shades.
will you type and tell us what that icon is? Because I can't tell what it is from the screen. Speaking of sex
Thanks for-
offenders.
Thanks for the distraction, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, believe me, I know. That's coming up later, sweetheart. And he didn't direct it, he wrote it.
What was it?
Oh,
The
you wrote
Burning.
it. Oh.
Hmm.
I call it the anti-slasher movie, but
Oh, like when you pee.
I'll get to my movies later. But yeah, it's an interesting movie, but it was written by him. It was one of the first movies that I think it might have been one of the first movies that Miramax ever did. Oh, cat with sunglasses. Hi, Amy. Love you. Your maternity pictures look beautiful, by the way.
You're like a princess,
But
pregnant princess.
Harvey Weinstein wrote.
They don't even make those.
He
most of
didn't
the time.
write. If I'm remembering this correctly, without googling it, he didn't write the screenplay. He just came up with the story outline, and then they had someone write you'll see that story by so and so, screenplay by so and so. That's what that means. Is that one person comes up with the story outline and then somebody else writes the screenplay based off of that. But anyway, I'll get to the movies later. What were we talking about? I mean, aside from cancel culture,
we were talking about Epstein.
And Epstein.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think that's another thing that just kind of reached a fever pitch and something had to happen. And
it's like somebody saw something they couldn't live with having seen anymore without saying something.
Maybe it's like the virus outbreak in The Stand coming to CBS All Access in December.
I think they killed
where it wasn't
the original Stand.
No, they're making a new one.
Oh, there's a new one.
Yeah,
I think they killed too many people the year before.
I think that had something to do with it, but there's a big part of me that wonders if maybe it wasn't just this really unique, perfect storm situation where like Ward said, the only wrong person happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and find out the wrong thing. And it was because there's a reason this shit stayed under wraps. Yeah, there's a reason this shit stayed under wraps for as long as it did.
But it didn't. Like, he got convicted in 2013. Well, and he was hanging out with Bill Gates after that. He just got to keep doing his thing.
That's fair.
It wasn't under wraps. It was like an open secret.
That's fair. That's fair.
God, he's so creepy looking.
James,
he's always been creepy looking.
James Marston is playing Stu Redman.
That's a good pick.
Yeah,
he's good
really
at everything.
Like it. Greg Kinnear is Glenn.
I hope he's not a piece of shit.
The Skarsgård, the dude from True Blood, is Randall Flagg, which I really like that casting.
Yeah,
I really, really do.
Wow. The whole Skarsgård family is going to be Stephen King villains.
Yep. The only thing that I'm on the fence about is Whoopi Goldberg as Mother Abigail.
Yeah, but that's a small enough part
anymore.
It's a small enough part.
I'm 118 years
I would have liked them.
And I still bake my own bread.
Welcome to The View.
Oprah is one of those just so is ubiquitous, the word that I'm looking for.
I thought you said Whoopi Goldberg was playing her.
Isn't that what I said? Whoopi Goldberg?
Yeah. Oh,
you said
why
Oprah.
are you endorsing Oprah?
Oh, sorry. Wrong Oprah.
Have you heard the Oprah thing?
Wrong, but that was racist of me. Whoops. Sorry. No, Whoopi Goldberg is Oprah is as well, but they both I have a hard time not just
Oprah had a baby when she was 14 and sacrificed it to that owl. Have you heard that one?
No.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
That one's fucking
that's
crazy.
Interesting.
And she's talked about it in People magazine.
Huh.
Of all places.
Oh, Joe just said hoot. Did you just say hoot?
It's a hoot. Yeah.
Oh, it is a hoot. Baby sacrifice is the worst.
No, it's like
his name was Kanan.
Whoopi Goldberg is one of those people that I can't see her as a character in something because she's just always Whoopi Goldberg.
She was good in Star Trek.
Yeah,
though her character in Star Trek.
Guinan. Yeah, she was she wasn't a big role, but she was.
But
there.
Also, I have something. I saw Whoopi Goldberg in. We went to taping of The View when we were in New York.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Huh.
And so between commercial breaks, you get to kind of see.
Were you drugged there kicking and screaming by your wife?
Yeah, we just were looking for something.
You're going to admit that? Wow.
We were looking for.
Which one of these jars does your wife keep your balls in, Ward?
You know how many guys were there?
Probably
a whole lot of guys holding their jars.
Hey man, no, dude. You want an easy place to scoop up some tail.
No,
where do go where the women are? Yeah. Abortion clinics, tapings of The View.
So no, but what I was gonna say was on like commercial breaks, they'd ask, like they had a comedian working in the audience doing like the crowd work on the commercial breaks to keep shit fucking lively.
Yeah.
And so he'd get questions from the audience and they'd kind of sit there, they'd get their fucking makeup reapplied and shit like that during the break. But people would ask questions of the host and stuff about like personal shit. I don't remember everything that got like said, but she just had like there was a genuineness to her personality
Okay.
that was likable. It was like, oh, she's actually like one of the people that like kind of gets shit.
Okay.
I don't agree with everything she has to say in every
Okay.
position she has, of course.
Hey, yeah,
But
you've got
He's a real
more of
person.
an interaction with her than I
but
have.
it's but it was
so-
interesting to see like a real version of her, not
when the cameras
tailored
weren't
for- when the
rolling.
yeah, right.
No, that is like I said, you've got a better window into her than I do. But
And she's gonna play an old, like how old's the lady that she's playing?
dude,
in the
Mother
thing?
Abigail
I'm
was
108 years old,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I still bake my own bread.
So
Yeah.
that movie, that character was already a little bit
Racist.
fucking but
It's
She's a fucking caricature.
of its time.
yeah, it was already a caricature. So Whoopi can do that.
No, I'll still
It's
watch
not like
it.
she hasn't been a
I-
caricature before.
I don't like CBS All Access, and I don't have any interest in getting it, but I'll find my own way to watch
We
it.
have it. It's been a slightly disappointing venture, but
Woof.
not as. But you know what's been more disappointing lately is Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're-
Canceled it.
There,
You canceled it.
Yeah.
my
I
free
watched the
year, like
Mandalorian.
It's coming back
That was
on.
it.
end of the month,
Oh,
it's
well.
coming back. But
Well, $7 or whatever it is.
Sign up for a month and leave it again.
my free year that I got through Verizon is up next, not next month, but in December, and
I'm famous for not canceling streaming services
I'm really
and just
on the
keeping them.
fence.
But there's a handful that I'm getting.
Annabelle
Like there's just nothing to watch right now.
see, there's so much on there that Annabelle watches, and that's my only real like justification
Well, and
for it.
I can't say there's nothing to watch on there because there is. There's so
There's
much stuff on there.
There's swaths and swaths of stuff to watch, but it's just like,
But
And
it's
there's a
stuff
lot
that I
of it-
never find myself sitting
what
down being like,
mindset do
wanna
I have
watch
to
this.
be in to watch
wanna watch
X, Y,
this.
Z?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the entire Disney catalog is on there. And there's so many other movies on there. Like everything Star Wars,
They hooked people.
everything Marvel is on there.
They hooked people
And
with
it's
the
like,
nostalgia.
I can always,
Yeah,
there's always something that I can just turn on there. Whereas like Netflix, I'm swimming through shit and I can I can just turn on Disney Plus and be like, oh, I'll just turn on Iron Man.
right.
Like it's not like I'm like fucking what am I gonna watch? Like I'll go on Netflix and I'll look for like 40 minutes before I find something.
you spend the length of a movie looking for something on Netflix, and oftentimes don't even
I've done
settle
that.
on anything to watch.
Yeah. I'm-
And
Yeah.
you know, it's disheartening in a way because you used to go to the video store to look for these titles. Now you go to Netflix and you just fucking your time is so we've talked about this before, but your time
Netflix
is
is
so
like Blockbuster.
valuable that you like when you rented something from the video store, you brought it home, you brought something tangible home and put it in. So you're like, okay, well, if this sucks, I still gotta fucking see it through.
Nope.
Netflix, if something sucks when you start it, you can cancel out and go watch something
Nope,
else.
Speed 2 did not get completed.
Well, there's a handful of movies that I did not see through, but you get what I'm saying.
Speed 2 did not make it. It got
You wanted
cruised
your
I like
money
how you have
back.
one
to the
title.
motherfucking Disney
You're like-
or
you're-
Disney movie store.
You're like you disagree on all accounts, but your one title is Speed 2.
Because it was the
It's
only
the only
movie-
title.
It was the only one I was that dude.
And
that
it cost it $500.
I would
Rewinder.
fucking spite
Just took
watch
it.
everything. I would spite watch it through the credits, but I would not finish Speed 2. It was so fucking bad.
Yeah.
We shut it off within 20 minutes and was just like, nope. Sorry, Willem Dafoe with blood poisoning. No, thank you. God, that movie's bad.
It's yeah.
Ugh.
I don't even remember. Jason Patrick,
It's
right?
not yeah,
Fucking
Jason
cruise ship?
Patrick. It's not
Who dreamed
There's a-
that bullshit up?
there's a recipe for bad movies to be enjoyable, and that movie misses the mark on like literally every like
And that one substituted generic for everything.
well, yeah, it's everything is generic, nothing is interesting. Bad movies, man. If they're gonna be bad,
Nothing
They
but
gotta-
remake.
they gotta
Nothing
enter.
original. Nothing original anymore.
No,
Oh,
not
remakes, yeah.
not really. It's new original content is doesn't sell, so nobody makes it anymore. It's disappointing.
People have been saying that since 1563, though.
Well, yeah, but The problem
Like-
is there's so much content
There's-
now that
There's like
we're inundated
5
with it.
stories.
We're just oversaturated.
Last night, I watched that last Rambo movie. It was on Amazon Prime or whatever.
Last
Yeah.
Blood. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
damn, that was some good
I like
gore.
Rambo movies though.
That was pretty gnarly, but
It was gore
I
heavy.
saw like on Amazon Prime like Child's Play. They redone Child's Play. Like why?
What was wrong with
So-
the other
Who
ones?
is that? Who is that for?
Did you not
Does
watch that?
Chucky need a fucking cell phone? You know, because back in
Finishing
1987 or whatever. You know,
See,
I
so
just
the
don't
remake,
understand the remakes with music, like Five Finger Death
I was
Fuck or
just gonna
whatever.
say Five Finger Death Punch, the most famous cover band in all time.
Disturbed.
Yeah, like
Disturbed shitty remake of The
Oh,
Sound of
nothing
Silence.
original. It's, everything's on
I
repeat.
can hear the sound of the bubbles stop. You
I,
fucking asshole.
No, okay, so I watched the Child's Play remake.
Okay.
Since you mentioned it, and it is very interesting because it is a remake in name and like loose concept only. In the original Child's Play, the doll is an inanimate doll that becomes the host for the
To the
soul
soul.
of a serial killer.
Yeah.
In the
A
Child's
voodoo serial killer.
Excuse me, voodoo serial killer. I'm
Don't
sorry.
you-
I'm sorry.
What's the chant?
culturally
You know the chant?
Lambella.
People have the chant memorized.
No, sir.
I'm
I
not
was
that
I was
guy.
never that into Child's Play.
The only line I remember from that
Um,
movie is
Chucky said Aunt Maggie was a bitch and she deserved to die.
Jesus,
So-
Ward's got it on.
But
The
in
Dumbala.
the thing is in the new one, in the remake, they completely and totally do away with all of the supernatural aspect of it. And what happens is there is this disgruntled factory worker who, for reasons that the movie needs to happen, decides to fuck with one of the dolls that's being shipped out of the company because it's like he's getting fired or something stupid like that. But so it literally, they get rid of all of the spiritual aspect of it, and it just becomes Chucky is quite literally, he's like the Terminator. He's just an evil robot doll.
Okay.
It's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
As somebody who likes that, like, yeah, man, it's a doll with the soul of a serial killer in it. Like, that's goofy as shit, and I love that. Just another robot, just another evil AI. Really? That's what you got for me?
That's lame.
Like, ugh. No thanks.
Do you want to read the chant?
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Oh no.
Read what I have highlighted.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
You're gonna bring this. You're gonna bring my little bobbleheads to life.
Ade
Yes.
du dambala Valancella Santeria Oya Shungo Yenya Makumba, give me the power, I beg of you. Huh.
Well, something rose from the dead.
Neat, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't.
Um
It wasn't those bobbleheads. I'll tell you that.
oh, Amy, the homebrew is fantastic. I've had 2. It's really, really good.
I'm on my third.
I'm about to
What-
be on my 3rd.
So you're brewing beer? Is
Yeah, I
your
started
homebrew,
home.
or are you like making games on Nintendo Switch?
No, I bought I spent probably $600 on equipment to brew my own beer. I didn't buy like a Mr. Beer jug. I got a whole thing. I did an extract for my first brew, and then
Okay.
this next one I'm going to do a full grain mash and all that fun stuff. But it's this first one turned out really good. I'm anxious to get going on the other one, but I don't want to have a ton of bottles of surplus already. So I'm kind of trying to build up my stock. So I bought a case of Sam what is it?
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams, because they're pry top bottles, so I can use the bottles to bottle the beer. But I'm also looking into getting a keg at some point and doing a keg style, but I don't know if this fridge will.
There you
It will.
go.
I think fridge will hold a keg. But
So will a kegerator.
yeah, those are expensive.
Are they?
I think I'd have to build a kegerator. You could build one from like a mini fridge, I think. That's what they look like.
Yeah, you just got to cut holes in the
Cut
top.
holes in the top.
I don't know if I'd be good at that.
I don't know. I'd watch a video.
I'm not good at much, really.
On YouTube.
Yeah. So, Joe, which one do you want to talk about? Tech, ghosts, God, or Trump, or all of them?
Oh, I just threw a bunch of shit out there just to say whatever's fine. You know.
Oh, I know, but I wanted to put them in a bulleted list because it made it fun to
yeah,
tease that we might talk about all of them. Since
we
it's
got
the
an election coming up, election coming up. I mean, I think you guys.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm voting Trump.
Are you?
Yeah. All right. See you later.
Good talk.
No, but tell me why.
Good
I'm just curious to know. Like I think I'm probably. I don't know.
Okay, so here's my question:
Are you in trouble with the misses? But I'm looking third party.
No.
Yo, Jorgensen.
Are you voting Trump more because you support him or more because you disapprove of Biden?
I would probably say support. I would say support.
That's a refreshing.
See, here in Oregon, it's you get a mail-in ballot. That's what you get. There are no polls here, so it's always been mail-in here in Oregon. So it's. But
I don't understand all the hubbub
Trump
about
will win,
having problems
I'd
with
have
it.
to say. I mean, the only thing with Trump is I see he's not a bureaucrat. He's not a politician, so to say.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't like paperwork.
But how I see it is he's freaking stirring the turd soup. This whole government bullshit that we've had for so long, it's just monotony. Nothing really seems. I don't know. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Biden's at your door now. He
Yeah.
heard you. He's a loyal follower. He was just lucid today, so he knew.
I never really ever into politics until I got a kid on the way. Really, that's when I started watching news. My grandma would scream, "Oh, Obama can't get nothing done. Oh, this and that. The Republicans, this and that." It's like, oh, grandma, it's all freaking bullshit. They're all liars, one way or the other. And then I see Trump come in, and he's just like stirring this shit stew, and everyone gets to smell it. And it's just all fucking crooked either way, each way as it is. I mean, with all this fucking, with the FBI bullshit that happened, and the fucking, the Russia conspiracy and shit, it's been crooked that way. It's not just once, one time happened. So it's just, I see him as the shit soup stirrer, and it,
yeah.
And I want to see more of it, I mean, with the tax credits and things, that was pretty cool shit. That was great. So, it's Trump. Yeah, he's good.
The only reason I ask is because especially on like Twitter and on the internet and stuff, you'll find I was having the conversation with my mother-in-law because she and I talk politics. Honestly, I probably talk politics more with my mother-in-law than I do probably any other two people combined, because we are completely opposite ends of the political spectrum on a lot of things. And it's fun to talk to her because we can actually debate. Nobody seems to want to endorse their candidate anymore. They seem more interested in just, I'm voting for Trump because I sure as shit ain't voting for Biden.
I don't know about that. I think there's endorsements out there because you wouldn't see all of the paraphernalia that's going around with like the fucking Trump flags and
they're everywhere.
The hats and all that stuff. So there's definitely people are throwing their fucking hats in the ring.
That's a fair point.
I'd say like my biggest contention and
conversation.
This is more about the type of personalities that are driving our the whole conversation countrywide is like the divisiveness that his presidency has created. And that's not necessarily all his fault, but he doesn't do anything to help it along.
No.
And he shouldn't.
No, I don't think. I don't.
I mean,
yeah, I'd say he's definitely stirring the pot. I don't. I guess.
Given the choice between a president who's a shit stirrer and a president who tries to be a unifying voice, even if it's bullshit, I'll take the bullshit unifying voice.
Unifying voice.
But I'm also a relentlessly fucking hopeless optimist.
The problem I have. See, I hate it both. I hate both pieces of it. I think that the unifying voice, because it's bullshit, bothers me. And
agreed.
I don't think that he needs to try to unify the people, but he just needs to land at a place that's more concise about where he stands on stuff. And I think sometimes he kind of like tap dances around it because he's afraid to that he's going to upset some of his base. And so he tiptoes around things and doesn't come forward with a strong opinion one way or the other on things. Like it's kind of like his stand back and stand by thing that he told the Proud Boys or whatever. Where he's just kind of like
that was weird. I
didn't
expect that.
A lot of stuff that I see from him.
That was the virus talk.
Does it right? Yeah, that was the COVID. A lot of the stuff that I see from him, he doesn't. To your point about having these opinions and stuff like that, and drawing hard lines on things. The only thing that he really wants to seem to ever draw a hard line on anything about
how great he is.
Is how great he is and how great we're doing with him as president. That's it. It's a really,
but if you say
it's
it
a
enough,
really one note presidency, honestly. Like it's really weird. No matter what the subject is, no matter whether it's immigrants and we should build a wall, or we need to give stimulus money to people because they're out of work and it'll help the economy, or we need to close down and quarantine and blah, 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 blah. No matter what the subject is, the very first thing you will hear him talk about is we're doing great. Nobody else could handle this as well as we are. You wouldn't believe how good it's going. Trust me, it's going really well. We've got a plan.
There's your bullshit unifying voice. That's
that's not unifying.
It's unifying his base.
That I don't see that as unifying. I see that as just flat out bullshit.
But that's what
doing.
every politician does. You know what Biden's doing is he's unifying his base by doing the shit where he fucking leans into the camera and fucking talks to the American people.
Oh God, that was bad.
Want to tell you something here?
Yeah. So it's all the same. It's just different
people in your living room.
It's just different sides of the same horse shit.
To give me your daughters.
But see, I disagree. A unifying voice would be to say, we all need to work harder. We all need to do better. I expect the people on the left to do better, and I expect the people on the right to do better, because together we all need to work harder and do better. That is a unifying voice.
Do you think Karen's going to embrace that coming out of his mouth, though?
Saying we're doing a great job, that's not a unifying voice.
But either way, even if he all of a sudden tomorrow decided to come in and say all those things, do you think that everybody that's fucking hated on him from day one are going to hop on board?
Those attitudes won't change.
Because my opinion changed from the beginning. I don't endorse Trump.
He's the genuine
presently
devil
because I have different opinions. But at the same time, when he got elected, I was kind of like I said, I was like giddy for what was to come. Because
this should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. But it's just at this point, there's certain aspects of it that are tired, and it's like, let's quit recycling the same old fucking
I agree.
gray water, and let's fucking move on to something else at this point.
I agree.
Exactly.
He is a genuine buffoon, though.
Oh, for sure.
Like the dictionary definition of buffoon.
Yeah.
And Biden's a fucking child molester. Like, did you watch that video I put up the other day? Like, he's grooming children on the Senate floor.
It's really, really, really.
that psychologist like
uncomfortable.
talking through exactly what he's doing,
It's
and
really
then Jeff
uncomfortable.
Sessions swatting his fucking hand away.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch my granddaughter. I know you're the vice president of the United States and I just hit you, which is a fucking felony, but don't touch my granddaughter.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something
That's
else.
amazing.
Yeah,
Cool.
just do a quick search of Jeff Sessions swatting.
I'm not surprised.
That shit is
Nothing-
hilarious. That dude fucks children. And I don't care who hears me say it. Send some fucking people. I don't know. Like, oh my God, we've never had a worse choice between two people. Well, we probably have. I think it resulted in a civil war, but
I didn't think that when at the last election, when it was Trump and Hillary, I was like, this is it. We've reached the pinnacle of whatever the pinnacle of the bottom is where we are. We've reached the top of the bottom in a place where we literally could not have two worse options.
Pay dirt.
And then they fucking trotted Biden out. And my big argument, like, I have a lot of
Hillary's just as bad.
libertarian.
She's exactly the same.
I have a lot of libertarian beliefs.
She just keeps it off camera
by and large. But my biggest gripe against the Democratic Party for really like the entirety of my voting lifetime, I guess I would say, like since I became old enough to cast votes, is how do they perpetually pick these schlubby dipshits who have no chance of winning?
They had a Tulsi Gabbard and they went with Joe Biden. I'd have voted for Tulsi Gabbard.
This election, when they lose this election, because I personally, again, it's not necessarily something that I entirely agree with, but I don't agree with either of them. So I don't think either of them are good choices. But when Trump gets reelected, this will be.
People say he's polling low, but he was also polling low the first election.
Polling low in the first
it's like
election, yeah.
All these same people that are saying, "Have you seen the polls? Biden's
When's
doing
the
good
last
in the
time we had
polls."
a
Yeah, you told me
president's-
that 4 years ago about Hillary Clinton and what happened.
When's the last
The
time we
only
had a
poll I
president
see
serve one
regularly
term?
is mine when I take a piss. Like,
When's the last time we had a
the most
president serve
important
one
one.
term?
to me,
American people don't like change. They will keep him in there for no other reason than they're used to it.
yeah,
When's the last time we had a one-term president? Seriously.
Bush Senior.
Yep. So,
And the only reason that was because Perot ran.
yep. And again,
You watch that
Yeah,
documentary,
and-
he's bitter about that.
and
So-
I don't think he was supposed to be president anyway.
so you look,
He never
You-
should have been in there.
you
he
look
was
at-
he was the head of the CIA. There was all kinds of reasons he never should have even been run.
Yeah.
He never should have been vice president. Like, there's all kinds of reasons he should never have been in the big seat.
you look at when they trotted out John Kerry,
He probably killed
and
Kennedy.
you look at when they trotted out Joe Biden. You got two elections just in my adult voting lifetime where you're going to watch the Democrats lose an
John
election
Kerry.
vote to a president who has historically low approval numbers.
Yeah.
Because that was the big thing about Bush, was he's got the lowest approval numbers of any president in history, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, they still picked somebody who managed to lose to him. And now here we sit again in 2020 with Trump having some of the lowest approval ratings.
Yeah. I'll be
And-
surprised. I'll be genuinely surprised if Biden wins.
I will
because-
be stunned.
I can't
and
believe I can't believe no
all
one
this
talks
polling
about
data says that he's going to win. And that's like, why are you listening to that?
I will be.
that 30-page report that came out 2 days ago about his son. Like,
Oh, Hunter?
yeah. I mean, the whole thing about what's that fucking Ukraine?
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing is fucked up. And
Hmm.
nothing? Just nothing?
They don't want to give it any.
They don't want to give it traction.
They're
Too busy talking about the president recovering from coronavirus.
It's absurd.
He's basically immune to it.
Thoughts on whether or not he actually got it?
I don't think he had it.
I don't either. I think it's clever.
Well played, sir.
Yeah, because Biden will only do a virtual.
There's no way they can confirm that he had it. So fuck, you know.
Well,
It's
yeah.
all coming out of the White House.
Yeah.
Well, and there's 7 different types of coronavirus. Did he have COVID-19 or SARS-CoV,
Right. Or just a common cold.
Yeah.
whatever? Or did he have one of the other 6? Who knows? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Can you confirm which version of this that I had? You can't? Well, then maybe fuck off.
Not to pat myself on the
HIPAA
back, but this is
violation.
a solid beer.
This is good beer, man. And again, I'm not
And what's
I'm
the-
not really a beer drinker, but this is like I admittedly when
It's
I
got
came
a nice
here,
little sweet taste to
yeah,
it.
it does. When I came here, I was gonna have one to humor you because you're my friend.
What did you brew? What did you brew?
I brewed an amber ale.
Amber ale. I've brewed
Yeah.
one of those. Looks dark
really-
though.
It's really tasty.
Yeah, it's dark. It's a little cloudy. It almost looks kind of like
It almost looks like a brown.
yeah,
Because amber is supposed to be lighter.
a little bit lighter. Yeah, it's cloudy. But
Filter it one more time, maybe
it probably
next time.
needed more filter,
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go.
But it's good though. I'm happy with it. Ultimately.
So you have ghosts highlighted on the
Oh, because it's Halloween month.
topic. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think
Yeah,
about ghosts?
do you guys believe in ghosts?
So does anybody have any theories on ghosts?
Theories?
Theories on like what they actually are.
Yeah.
Residual
What
energy.
actually is a ghost? Yeah. You know, it's
So,
like
You mean like the heat you leave behind in a chair? This is like ghosts of the emotional heat you leave behind when you die, that sort of thing?
Similarly, yes.
Like that basic idea?
Yeah. That's
I got the gist of
that's the really like broken down simplified version of it. But yeah.
Joe, what's your take?
well, I've heard that like quartz crystal has a lot to do with ghosts. Like how quartz you can like it'll somehow record something like life force, and then it will repeat it when the magnetic waves are in the right spot. Possibly, I don't know. I mean, I've had some experiences. My kids have had some experiences. Like in this house, like I don't understand why, but I swear a cat jumped up on my bed and just laid down and wasn't there, and heard meowing like coming from under my bed. And
What year was the house built?
I'm sorry.
What year was the house built?
76.
Huh.
Yeah.
What kind
So,
of
I mean,
pipes
just recent, just some kind of recent things. Like my daughter, she's 3, and she was saying, "Oh, sometimes when I go to bed, my bed will just shake, and then it stops when I wake up."
It's
like,
Joe Biden's
oh.
in there.
Yeah, maybe.
God, I hope not.
Creepy Joe, not this Joe, but anyway, it's just, I don't know. Like I've had some experiences in my life, and like I literally don't understand. I've been watching a lot of videos like on YouTube, like the scariest ghosts top 5 or whatever, and some of that shit can't be hoaxes. It's pretty creepy.
Have you
And,
looked into infrasound at all?
infrasound?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because last night, like I was feeling vibrations, and I thought like my neighbor was like putting his bass like so low or whatnot and cranking it so high that I was gonna have a heart attack. But
Now,
that shit is real. That infrasound shit can really fuck with you.
yeah, between 17 and 19 hertz or gigahertz or something, it's supposed to vibrate at the same level as the fear center of your brain. And old pipes in old houses are said to vibrate at that level. And they found that some of the quote unquote most haunted places in the world, if they go through and they pad and duct tape, like you take pool noodles and put them around the pipes in these houses, duct tape them up so they're nice and braced, the hauntings just stop.
So it's a psychosis due to infrasound.
Well,
Well, there's
as little as 15 minutes of exposure on some people. Some people are highly sensitive to it. Other people not so much. Other people are slightly different frequencies. But like you can get nosebleeds. You can have panic attacks. You can have hallucinations just from this sound that you can't hear,
Yeah,
but you can feel it.
there's a movie that came out here not too long ago, and I want to Google it. I can't remember what movie it was, but they all of the horror scenes, they lay that tone into the soundtrack.
That's fucking cheap shit.
It works.
Of course it
it's
does.
just because it's fucking scientifically proven. I am gonna Google it and see if I can figure it out. But yeah, they put that, it's a tone that just, they've scientifically figured out that volume decibel level makes people uncomfortable.
Now, I am not going to say that there's not some other thing, because it's a big world, but it's one of those eliminate all other possibilities kind of things. So
you got to listen to the scientists.
Yeah, you got science. An explanation point. Infrasound is something you should always check into first. Your house isn't old, but like if
my pipes do wiggle, though, I do have water pressure hammer, so I can actually see that.
And yeah, you might look into that just for your own house before you start burning sage. But I don't put anything past the old gypsy cures either, because there's always, like, some of those things. Sometimes it's a fungus. Sometimes it's a weird plant. Sometimes it's a dust. And some of those things, like, they'll tell you to burn sage, or they'll tell you to do this, they'll tell you to do that. And they work, but not for the reasons that they think. And sometimes it really is just an emotional echo of somebody that used to live in the house. And
apparently they used it in Eraserhead all the way back then.
Oh, really?
That's interesting.
And I think in some of the cases, it tends to be the people who believe in it, in that sort of thing. Like, they set it up. Like, their belief fuels it.
Well,
so they leave an echo because they believe they'll leave an echo.
Yeah, and there's the Mulder thing of wanting to believe. When you want to believe something, you will see things that aren't there. You will hear things that aren't there. It's
kind of like
it's the opposite of, like, deliberate denial, where it's like, never underestimate somebody's ability to bullshit themselves that something isn't there.
So
it's the inverse of
at what
that.
point do you need to start believing that you're going to leave an echo for yourself to leave an echo?
It's got to be deep.
Yeah,
like, you have to have a deep,
real deep shit.
You can't just decide to, like, as you're kicking off, that, like, I need to, like, haunt my kids.
But it doesn't have to be long term. It's just got to be there.
Right.
And it's
a genuine belief.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, like, manufacture a belief just because you want to do something.
And I can wrap this into both Project Bluebird and God. So if you want to get two things in, and this is one of my, I've got 3 or 4 different, like, base theories of all reality. This is one of them. And get your hip waders on, because this is pretty deep bullshit.
Bring it on.
Okay, so the Bible says that we're made in God's image, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what if there's one word to describe God, that word is creator, right?
I was going to say infallible, but
creator. God is a creator.
I can go with that.
Okay.
Because the first thing God did was create the world.
God created himself, or God created man in his own image and saw it was good.
Right. So God creates man in his own image. So that therefore we must be creators. That must be our primary drive. So what if at one point, when everybody believed the world was flat, what if it was? What if it was this thing inside a glass globe held up by 4 elephants or a giant, or on the back of a giant turtle? Because for a while, cultures across the world had this image of the world as this thing being held up by something else underneath a dome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether it was elephants or turtles or Atlas, something was holding up the world. So that's how it was until enough people were convinced by Copernicus or Galileo or whoever that no, all this shit was spinning around us. We were the middle of everything. And then suddenly we were, because enough people believed it. We created it with our minds.
So it's like a mass version of Schrodinger's cat. It doesn't actually exist until you think it does.
Right.
Kind of thing.
And it ties into quantum theory, because quantum theory is this particle is both of those things, like Schrodinger's cat, until we look at it. And then it's based on how we look at it.
Yeah.
Then it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so
universally seeing something into existence.
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And so then we decided, all of these people decided, no, wait, we're going around the sun. The sun's not going around us. And then a bunch of people were like, okay.
And the Earth's like,
Boom. Okay, now everything's going around the sun. And the sun's going around this other big bastard. And this other big bastard's going around this. And now everything's in this big ass cloud that's constantly spinning outward.
so then what happens to the naysayers in this case? Are they just the minority?
Yeah, their belief system gets pushed out.
A Cro-Magnon.
And then people write books about it. American Gods comes out.
There you go.
And their stuff just kind of passes off into legend, and maybe it's still got a little bit of power here, a little bit of power there. And then you've got those little places like empty gas stations on the side of the highway that are kind of overgrown and are weird as fuck. You know, like those little places, border towns, fucking libraries in the middle of the night, like just shit, like just those weird in between places.
Yeah.
That's where that shit goes. But things change as reality. Enough people agree on it, and so
matter does not exist unless there's an observer.
Right.
Okay, so what's the matter with matter?
So if a tree falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, it didn't happen.
But you could go find it. So then it never happened, because if you did see a tree laying on the ground, then it didn't just materialize on the ground.
It's paracausal. It existed in that way.
It was always that
Like
way.
so basically, then reality is like a Sega Dreamcast.
Right.
That's how it renders its graphics. Just whatever. It doesn't render the full model, like behind of what you would see, you know, the back of the head or whatever. So just basically the back of my head doesn't exist because you can't see it. I can't see it, but I can still feel it.
Simulation theory. What was that thing I shared the other day? The thing you said was the fucking Goodwill Hunting math thing.
Oh,
the one that said that we're in a neural network.
yeah.
Yeah, the one that basically proved simulation theory.
Yeah, the simulation theory thing. Yeah.
The universe is basically a neural network.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of different things over the years that have proven that, not irrefutably, but like there's a resolution. Like your TV's got a resolution. There we have a pixel size, and it's called the Planck length. It's the distance, the smallest distance between two objects.
Adam.
So you could add credence to your argument with climate change, because as more people embrace that it's actually a thing, the more it actually is a thing.
Becomes a more of a that's like, actually sound. Yeah,
you could say, because
did
you have, by the way, have you watched that Richard Attenborough show?
No, not yet.
It's not bad.
I like everything.
The end premise is basically we just have to like put shit back.
Yeah.
just put it back.
Just put it back. Well, because he comes up with all these like charts and shit throughout these statistics, like how much of the natural world have we taken over, and it starts out at like we're like at 70% is untouched, and then like by the end of it, by now I think we're like at like 30% or something like disturbingly
Just
low.
absurd.
Yeah. And so we did it in under 100 years. Which I mean, and when you look at it through that kind of like it's eye-opening to be like, well, yeah, I guess climate change could actually be a thing because we have like aggressively.
I always use the argument of it of I don't see how people could think it's not real. Like how can you think that literally billions of people on the planet doing the things that they do is not going to have
we didn't do anything and didn't do
effect.
anything for several hundred years, and then all of a sudden within the last 100 years we just had.
Did I send you that?
If your two
momentum.
fish in their fish tank shit constantly and you never ever do anything to clean it up, eventually it's gonna get cloudy
clean
and
itself.
Yeah, like it was one of those things.
And put it in there.
I don't necessarily understand, nor do I agree with some of the things that I've heard in relation to some of the climate change stuff. That like, oh, it's going to destroy the ozone layer and the planet's going to become a desert wasteland and so on and so forth. Like, no, I
think it'll kill us.
I don't know that I don't know that humanity will. Yeah, I don't know that humanity will survive it, but the world will be all right.
You used to remember the sun used to be yellow.
How could you think that
and
we
now
don't?
It's white.
How could you think that we don't have an effect on the planet?
Yeah, no, and that's
isn't the sun yellow?
It used to be.
Now you can't look directly at it. Not like you could
easily.
Before, but I mean,
but it didn't hurt so fucking bad.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since.
It's like the George Carlin joke. He's like, you don't think the Earth can just like shake us off like
a man, the fleas.
Yeah, and watching that, I was like, okay, so George Carlin. Like when I was younger, I was like, so George Carlin doesn't believe in climate change. No, he believed in climate change. He was just like,
I don't care.
I don't care, and the Earth doesn't give a fuck either because at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's basically the planet getting.
It's going to hit the reset button, and
what the fuck am I going to do about it?
Well,
it's nothing more than the hubris of mankind.
Like the sun, like I said several times on this show, the sun could fart and we could die.
Yep.
In an instant. Well, 7 minutes. I think.
Is that anything we can predict though? Can we predict that?
I don't think so.
Would you want to?
There are probably people who'd like to say they could, but can they really?
Right.
But because all of their predictions are just based on guesswork anyway.
Also, we seem to be getting a lot of like, there's going to be an asteroid passing close to Earth within the next 2 days. It's like, oh, is that all the notice we get?
The NEOs.
What's that?
The NEOs.
I don't know.
Near Earth objects.
Yeah. It's like we'll get like a notification like asteroid going to be close to Earth
Kiss
in
your
2
mom.
days. It's like, oh, really? Okay.
Tell your
I thought we were supposed to know about
this. You're not
this.
going to have time to go find her and give her.
We need like an Armageddon time frame so we can send Bruce Willis to space to help us out.
But like, would it do any good to know that the sun was going to shrug its shoulders and kill us? Probably not.
No, because we haven't done anything to advance ourselves in a technological standpoint. Technology, Joe. Technology.
We could though go underground. We did before.
Yeah. We could
turn into those
lizard
men,
blind, weird guys.
The Morlocks?
Yeah,
the Morlocks from the Time Machine.
Yeah.
What were the top side ones from Time Machine?
Oh
Eloy?
God, I can't remember.
Was it Eloy? Eloy?
I think you might be. That sounds right, but
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right because I'm
only
read the book. I never watched either of the movies.
Oh, the Guy Pearce one.
Good. Yeah, it's not bad.
Well, even the original one, the one from the 60s, is pretty decent too. I like watching some of those older movies. Do some of those like Clash of the Titans.
Dude,
that was 83, I think.
Ray Harryhausen.
Eloy, motherfucking nailed it.
What was it I watched the other day? Them.
Is that the Rat one?
No, that's
I'm gonna go kiss me good night real quick.
Oh yeah,
I'll be right back. All right. Sorry.
No worries.
Push him on the sun thing. The sun thing's a good one. The color changing sun thing.
Yeah,
that one's a fun one.
I'm not. I'm what I would call like a healthy skeptic when it comes to ghosts, because
I want to believe anything is real. But I also It kind of goes back to like
I can explain it as ghosts, but I've seen things that I genuinely would love an explanation.
It kind of goes back to the simulation theory. It's like our simulation is only what we basically, you can't just change. And I like your argument for what's the noise thing?
Oh, the infrasound.
Infrasound.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting. I'd never even heard of that before, but that makes a ton of sense as far as hauntings go.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I forget what I've talked about here and what I haven't, because I talk to so many people about so many things that I was surprised that I haven't given that particular speech in here before, because that's one of my big ones.
Yeah. Imagine Ghostbusters just showing up with a bag of pool noodles.
But yeah,
I'm afraid no ghost.
I don't know. That's one of the ones that I really, one of my grand unification theories. I've got 2 or 3 more, but that one's one of the ones that I keep going back to, because I don't know. You hear people, well, like you see those books, they come around every few years. A different one will come out, like The Secret or whatever. And they all talk about the same thing, like using the mechanism of your mind to manifest. And that's the word they use, all of them, manifest things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And every religion will bring up something similar. And there's a lot of core tenets to things that just keep coming up. And you're like, why would this come up? Why would that come up? Why do things keep coming up over and over and over again?
Yeah.
And those are the things that you need to look out for.
Right.
Those things that come up in every religion over and over and over again. Because those are the things that are probably closer to whatever the truth,
the tenets
really
that
is.
are holding true across the
if it
the
comes
scope
up in,
of it,
in Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Hinduism,
There's
Buddhism,
something to it.
There must be something there.
Yeah.
Like not treating people like shit. Oh, maybe we should do that.
So Joe, the sun.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate?
I've seen it before.
You've seen it before?
Yeah. Well, I remember it used to be yellow. I used to look at it when I was probably about 5, and yeah, it was yellow. Now it's white.
Do you think it's is that a Mandela effect?
That's what I was going to say. Is it a Mandela effect thing?
It could be.
Is it because
our atmosphere has changed? Could too.
We always
typically
drew the yellow in our pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, typically, like if the sun was yellow, that means it was cooler, because now that it's white, it's a higher Kelvin, which maybe the sun would be hotter. But I just kind of just think of that weird that, yeah, it could be a Mandela effect, because I do remember Mandela dying in prison a while back. I can't give you a date, but didn't he just die recently?
Yeah, I think
Like
2012 or something like that.
That long ago?
I don't even think it was that long ago.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was like a couple years ago. But
Oh, we're getting Mandela effect times 2.
Yeah, right.
time flies. Yeah.
2013. Damn, Ward.
See, I'm not one of the ones that remembers him dying in prison.
Me neither.
But I do. The Berenstain Bears is the one that gets me, because I don't remember them ever being the Berenstain Bears until people started showing pictures of the Berenstain Bears.
Same.
Berenstain. Or Stain. Yeah, the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, they're Stain now.
I always remembered them as Snorks, but now everybody's just saying they're Smurfs.
Yeah, Snorks.
Come along with the Snorks.
Oh my god.
Holy
Holy crap. I thought I was the only one.
fuck.
See, I remember both of those.
La 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 la. Yeah.
Papa Smurf gonna lick you.
That escalated quickly.
We had what was she was like a typing teacher, our business teacher. She did not like the Smurfs because they practiced black magic.
Oh, I thought
Well,
she was going to say 'cause they were
Gargamel's cat is
communists.
named after one of the versions of the devil. So, I mean, she's not too far off.
I thought you were going to say it.
That's pretty
Which
awesome.
is also true.
What's that, Joe?
I said that was pretty awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Really good.
What else we got? Consciousness on the subatomic level.
Oh yeah.
The subatomic consciousness, not just the
Yeah.
sub.
I didn't bother to look into this. Can you tell me about it?
Well, I have a theory that consciousness actually has mass. Now, things that have mass has an effect on what your time scale, I would say. So, like scientists just recently discovered a couple years ago that flies see in slow motion. Now, if you can see in slow motion, that means your consciousness would be smaller in mass than the conscious around you. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Because of the time dilation. So if you look at an ant kind of scurries on his way, but at the conscious level of the ant, he might be a tank going slow. And that's maybe why an ant can lift 50 times its weight, because it's not built to be fast, but slow. And if you think of like at consciousness at say like at the sun's level, like you would actually be able to see the planets going around you. Does that make any sense? So at a subatomic level, I mean, it happens in like nanoseconds when like at the giant atom smasher in Geneva, whatever it's called, the LCM, whatever. It's like it just happens in a microsecond, but at a conscious level, that could be what our universe looks at like right now.
I see what you're saying.
In a standstill. So consciousness has mass.
That would explain I mean, it's been proven and disproven, but people were trying to, I don't remember who it was, but there was a doctor that was trying to prove, it was like the 21 grams theory, that your body loses 21 grams the moment that you die. Their theory was that 21 grams was your soul, and they were trying to extrapolate basically similar to what your consciousness theory is,
which isn't even an
actual weight.
It's like 8 ounces or 8 grams shy of an ounce.
Yeah, it's a very very
minimal. Is that in gold though?
It's a very very minimal thing, but no, that
do all souls weigh 21?
The idea of consciousness having mass would lend credence to that theory, because there's conflicting reports on it, but there are some studies shown that it does. It's a weird thing that happens like moment of death.
Yeah.
And then one thing to think of too, like say like when you're born, you're a baby, you're limited on the interactions you've had in the outside world. So these are things you're thinking over and over and over and over again. So like as a small conscious, your world is very small because you've only seen so much. And as your consciousness grows, it gains mass. So like when you were young, it took forever for Christmas to come or your birthday. But now they're freaking flying over your shoulder like nothing happens. And that's
right.
The size of your consciousness grows. So like as enlightenment, that's everything goes so fast, you just say fuck it. I mean, look at old people and how slow they go. I mean, Jesus, that's hell in itself, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. The size of your consciousness. How big is your consciousness?
Not big enough.
No.
Some days it's too big.
Yeah, there's those days when my consciousness is just like, what is it even for? What am I like? I think those are like suicidal thoughts, but yeah, I mean, like, what is it even like? Like you just kind of go through those things, or you're like, at the end of the day, and it's kind of like your 10-year garden comment earlier. It's like we're all gonna die at some point.
Yeah.
Is this the end or is it not the end? But what does this matter? I guess it matters to the extent that you do something with it for now.
What matters now is
But
now.
does it?
Like
Right.
100 years from now.
Right.
Who cares?
Exactly.
And that's and
Like
And
when
it
John
says
Kerry
a lot
went crazy.
how that makes you.
Or when John Kerry went crazy, like a couple years ago, he's like, nothing matters except right now. And
Right.
I got that. That actually made sense, even though he looked kind of weird and shit.
Well,
Right now, as the observer, the only thing that matters is right now.
exactly. It's the only thing you have. It's the only thing anybody has is right now.
It's the
Because
only
you
thing
can't prove that
exists.
anything happened. Even the beginning of this conversation.
Right. Well, you can prove it because it's recorded, but you have
That
to
doesn't
rewatch
mean
it. But nobody
anything.
knows. But like, you have to like work to prove it.
But even that's
But
not,
then you're
it's
reliving
not
it,
proof.
and then it's
Because
and that's the new now,
the new now is the only thing you have actual
Right.
proof of.
because you're showing them that now.
Exactly.
We're
Right.
looking at now. When do we get to then? Soon.
Right. And that's
We
when
can't go back. We passed it.
And at some point, the
I
meteor
always drink
crashes
coffee
through
when
the
I
building.
watch Radar. You know that.
You all know that. Of course we do, sir.
Fuck, nothing ever works in this place.
But a lot.
It was a G-rated movie, and they said fuck in that movie.
Yeah,
They did.
you can get away with
Fuck. Even in the future, nothing works.
Get away with one of them.
But your answer to that, or your reaction to that question or that idea, says a lot about you to yourself. Like in 100 years, nothing you're doing right now matters.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
Now.
Does that
Well, it doesn't matter
does
now,
that free you?
but there is a domino effect that could happen, but it doesn't matter now.
Right.
100 years from now.
Free you? Or does that make you feel
For
like
me,
hopeless?
Yeah.
Right.
well,
And
Well, I think
to
that's
me,
why
it's
people work.
incredibly
That's why
freeing.
people work to raise their children, though, is because they try to impart some sort of
Yep.
wisdom that can
Yep.
be carried on to the next generation, so that 100 years from now, some version of yourself resonates somewhere along the way, whether it's small or minuscule or not at all. But you
like
want to try to
Assassin's Creed kind of genetic memory thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you look at a lot of things like some adopted children, and they turn out just like their birth parents, no matter what they get adopted into.
Right.
Yeah,
There's no nature. nurture.
And then you look at others, and they turn out like their adopted family was their birth family.
Right.
Like you
Right.
couldn't tell any difference. And so, like how much of what you do right now even affects,
That's true.
isn't it?
But you are a product of your environment.
No idea.
You
So
start
what
out
you
as
do
a blank
absolutely
DVD.
doesn't matter.
And Joe, repeat that.
I said, I mean, you're a product of your environment. I mean, when you come into this world, you're a blank DVD. And every input that you get from the world, outside world, you repeat that in your mind over and over and over, and because you have only lived so long. So you're a product of your environment. Everybody comes from the same slice of the God light, as I should say, of consciousness. We're all the same consciousness. We're just a product of our environment. Our environment, shit.
Just a big lump of tissue collectively bound by our individual experiences.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly it. The environment piece, because you can do all you want to
Now, maybe some genetic memory may
to push on
There's definitely proof
to impart with your children. Like, say you raise the best kid in the world, grows up, and he has kids, but something he does imprints on that kid or those kids, and that kid grows up to be a fucking serial killer.
Yep.
You don't know.
Yep.
So, I mean, and we were talking about this the other day with like past girlfriends and stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, what kind of dynamic was there during an impressionable time in that person's life that kind of like helps set the tone for what their life would be
Yeah.
going forward.
And other studies show that after the age of 7, they learn more. Between 7 and 18, they learn more from their friends than they do their family.
Mhm.
And so after that, it really doesn't matter where they end up. You
Right.
know, like everything you did from birth to 7, okay. But then there's others where none of that matters at all. And everything is I mean, like you separate that kid from their birth family
Subjective to
and
the
they
individual,
end up
yeah.
exactly like their birth family, even though they never met them.
Right.
So really, nothing you do matters. Nothing. It's awesome. It's freeing.
That's true.
It's so wildly freeing. Like, oh, I fucked up today. But whatever.
So you can be Robert Duvall's character in Sling Blade all day long and it won't matter.
I mean, hopefully not.
Maybe not.
I mean, hopefully you're not a shithole.
Burying babies in boxes.
But I mean, I'm not excusing like horrible behavior, but it's like, you know, you fuck up one day, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Like,
It's a life lesson.
I mean, it's take your
As
daughter
a parent,
when she
I'm
slipped
incredibly
and fell.
fallible. Yeah.
When she slipped and fell, she was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's the attitude you need to have.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes we slip and fall. Listen to me sounding all fucking hopeful. I'm not
Dude,
the
I was
hopeful guy on
gonna
this
say,
show.
why are you reading my lines on the script
But-
here? Because holy shit.
But that's like
You sound like me more than I think you maybe ever have. Having a daughter has changed you, sir.
Have you seen the eyes on that little girl? She
Like,
looks up at
holy
me.
cow. Holy cow.
She's the best
Kids
thing
are
that ever
good.
happened to anybody.
Kids are good.
And she happened to me.
This is about the color I expected the amber ale to be.
Yeah,
Still
that's a
pretty
proper amber.
Trying
I
to
can
decide-
see you
I'm
through
try- I'm
that.
trying to decide if I
Red.
have more or not.
But
We're at what is it? 9?
yeah, she is one hell of a little girl.
Congratulations.
So
Everybody, but I will say everybody tends to favor their kids more than other kids.
Oh yeah,
Because I have my daughter on a pedestal, and I know other parents that have their daughters on pedestals, and I know their daughters, and I'm like, she's kind of a piece of shit.
Oh yeah. Oh, I am totally blinded by my children.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Mine punch me.
And I won't even pretend otherwise. Oh yeah, she scratches my face when she's mad.
They're evil. I mean, first they're ugly, and then they're kind of like cool for a bit, and then they get attitude.
Then they start losing teeth and they look stupid.
I'm about
And
ready to start knocking teeth.
That's coming in real slow
Then-
behind the other ones.
Then
so
they
they're
get a little older
uneven.
and they get stupid. They
Yeah.
look stupid, then they get stupid.
And they're genetically, they're supposed to be better than us. They're supposed
That's
to,
up.
continue on. That's
Oh yeah.
that's
Tell her.
Darwinism. The
The
next,
Flynn effect is what you're talking about. Every generation up until the 1980s, 1990, that group was the last one. They tapered off and they've stopped.
95. Yeah, well, it's like
Explain this. You gotta.
We're no
We haven't
longer
talked about
genetically
this on the
superior.
We haven't?
No, we talked about it personally, but not on the show.
The Flynn effect.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Or if we talked about it, we didn't talk about it for long.
the next
Essentially,
generation
it's
should
like the 10% gain every year or every generation.
Every generation is 10% smarter than the generation that came before it.
Well, eventually that was eventually going to plateau anyway.
You would think, and it did.
That's the same. That's the same thing
Attenborough.
Attenborough said about the population. The population's eventually going to hit its,
Yeah, it's supposed to
It's-
peak in like
it's gonna peak.
9.8 billion, I think.
and then it will just kind of
It'll hit what it literally
can withstand.
sustain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It will hit that. It won't hit that point in our lifetime.
It's
honestly,
pretty fucking close right now.
Close.
I don't think we'll get there in our lifetime.
It's supposed to be about 10, like just under 10 billion.
But it's at that point that we're supposed to
But-
start making we need to start fucking thinking about
Leaving the planet.
technology
And we're already
advancing.
thinking
And,
about it.
Right. Well, we've been thinking about it for 50 years. It's just we've been kind of
Pussyfooting around.
hey, look at our spaceship we built in 1968.
Have you noticed that
keep
this
building
year?
some new ones. Make some cooler ones.
We've been sending up like 5 rockets a week
Really?
since this fucking COVID thing started. They've just been shooting up satellites. SpaceX has sent like 15 fucking rockets to Mars.
Oh wow.
Like stuff's
see,
been
yeah.
going.
Elon Musk, I'm happy that he's around because he's actually kind of motivated and he's got the money to do it.
Do you see that other thing? SpaceX is promising weapon delivery within an hour anywhere on the planet. That's another thing their satellites have been
Oh,
shooting.
cool.
up. Yeah.
Huh.
He made a promise to the Pentagon last week.
That's reminds
So-
me of the Winter Soldier.
It's refreshing.
So
Yeah. Just
so-
helicarriers that hover the earth and fucking boop, you're dead.
So let's slow down on our dick rubbing of Elon Musk.
I don't necessarily agree with some of the stuff that I hear.
Motherfucker
about
had me at
SpaceX, but
flamethrowers by mail. But
Not a flamethrower.
I don't know. That's my favorite human invention.
it's right up there.
Just
flamethrower.
the very fucking concept of a flamethrower. Like somebody looked at another dude and was like, "Hey, Ron, see that guy over there? That guy needs to be on fire, Ron."
I wish I didn't have to go all the way over there to set him on fire. Yeah, man. I don't know.
That's the best idea anybody ever
Basically,
had.
until we can make the fridge apparatus that the Jetsons had, where you just push a button and your meal pops out, whatever it is
The
that you want.
Foodoraka cycle.
Thank you. Until we can make that, the flamethrower is really like the pinnacle of human
You know,
invention.
Jetsons had so much great shit, but their TVs were still garbage.
I know. I didn't like their TV phone either.
No. Bullshit.
Jetson!
that
Fuck you, Mr. Spacely.
Oh,
I'll punch you in your little face,
that show.
you little dwarven cocksucker. You and Cogswell can go fuck each other.
Cogswell cogs, because cogs are the most important thing on the planet. we need fucking cogs, and we need sprockets, and we're gonna build floating cities.
Could be that simple.
Well, you never know. That could be running the whole fucking
Hey,
operation.
you know, there's a lot to be said for the simplest answer being the right answer sometimes.
We're just a cog in the machine, man.
All of us.
Indeed.
Your heart will tell
It's
you.
like the theory that was the same world as the Flintstones.
Oh yeah.
And they were just
Well,
above
they made the
clouds,
movie.
the Flintstones
They made the
weren't.
movie where they
Oh
met
no,
him.
no, they time
They did.
traveled. They time traveled.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
time
what they
machine.
said.
but they have no way of knowing that.
Oh,
what
so
they
you think
said.
they were just in the sky?
It
The
was-
Jetsons were just in the sky.
I
Yeah.
think both Hannah and Barbera were fucking
Flintstones.
liars. That's what I think.
Well,
Yeah,
they
dude.
fucked up the planet. Where else are they gonna go?
I think
Jeez.
time travel's a goddamn
When you live on the
farce.
planet, your bones are more dense
Doc Brown was crazy. He was just feeding uranium to dogs,
because of gravity.
gravity and cocaine.
Feeding uranium.
Big
to
ankle
dogs.
bones.
That's fucking great.
What's up with gravity?
I was just reassociating there. I'm sorry. That was bonkers. Where were we? Oh, hey, I've been trying to mention this for a minute. Did I send you that picture of where the world population would fit if everybody lived in a city the size of, or a city the density of New York, not the size of New York, the density of New York?
No.
The whole world's population could fit in Texas if everybody lived in a city that was the density of New York.
Oh, you didn't send that? No,
Oh,
that's
Yeah.
insane.
it is, isn't it?
Wow.
Delaware's not even a state.
Wow.
Think about that, because you guys were talking about how
Hi, I'm in
we're
Delaware.
fucking up the planet, yada
Yeah.
yada yada.
If we all relocated to Texas, we could put things back, as Attenborough puts it.
Well,
So if
and-
we started building those like sleep pod hotel things that they have in Asia, where you don't even have a bedroom, you just have a communal
tomb.
area, you
Nope.
go into a little hole
Nope.
in the wall and sleep.
Just-
New York doesn't have to do that.
no,
Well,
just-
no, I'm saying we could take this to the next level. We could fit these motherfuckers in Delaware.
yeah.
Yeah.
We,
Oh yeah. I mean, if you went coffin apartment,
yeah.
like, but if you think about that, you could relocate, and you wouldn't even have to do the whole planet that way. because they did like, oh, here's the population density of Houston. If it was the population density of
What about all the
Houston,
carbon dioxide though concentrated in that area?
I don't think it would matter if we left the fucking Amazon alone,
That's true.
because that's
It's
like
going to compensate. Yeah.
what
That's
somebody
why
was
we're wearing masks, because we got to get used to that shit.
we gotta get used to it.
We're conditioning. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
It's a condition.
That could be too.
You never know. You never know what
All
the
these
fuck
people are moving out of
doing.
California right now, moving to Texas.
I think if we
Ironically-
spread out instead of living on top of each other,
That would be better. Yeah. There's
it
there's
absolutely would be better.
there's part, but people wouldn't like it.
Nobody-
People in
yeah.
Idaho like their acreage
Would
and
you
their long
notice?
expanses of land.
I wouldn't notice.
They say they would, but I really sincerely wonder how much they would.
I would be happy with 3 acres. Personally.
I wouldn't be upset with that.
I lived on 3 acres growing up as a kid. My parents lived like 3.5 acres of land on and like an acre and a half or 2 acres of it was like the woods. And that was like a perfect little area. It wasn't big, but it wasn't small either.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
big
on, like,
enough that you didn't have your neighbors right on top of you.
0.13,
Yeah, I think we're
Or
at like
something.
0.67 here.
and
That's like sounds like Russia.
I've got a great big shop. I've got my house. I've got a fine driveway, enough room for 5 people and a dog.
Yeah.
It-
See, this is where I get on board with the idea of like redistribution of wealth, but only I think of it as land.
Oh yeah.
Like I think everybody should have like their own like piece of land that they can do what they want with, and not have neighbors like right on top of them if they don't want to. I'm pretty antisocial. Like this is about as social as I get.
So when I get elected in 2024,
Yeah.
and I'm serious about the one nation under my heel thing, I'm going to annex Brazil. In fact, this is going to be my running slogan, and I'm going to execute everyone in that country who doesn't agree with the stop the slash and burn. Because you know what they're doing? They're just making land for cattle to graze on. Fuck you. Fuck you, cattle rancher.
Yeah.
You want to kill the planet's lungs so you can grow a couple of methane farting cows? Fuck you. Bullet to the head.
Well, fuck, we're on the cusp of being able to manufacture meat and science in a
Yeah.
lab now.
Oh, the UN wants to bark at genocide? Fuck you, UN. Bullet to the head. Everybody. Everybody who argues with America gets shot in the face. That's my slogan. I bet you I get elected. I won't do that. My campaign promise is bunk. But that's my running platform. I'm not gonna genocide anybody.
I'm gonna make America the #1 country in the world again by killing all the other countries.
How did you make America #1? By making it the only one. That's my other slogan.
There you go.
This is gonna. Can you make me
Make
some,
America
can you Photoshop up some
the
fucking
only one.
posters? and
Make
shit?
America the only one.
Ron's gonna be my minister of propaganda.
Don't make America #1. Make it the only
Oh,
one.
that's a game plan.
There you go. That's it right there.
And I'm only on the ticket in Idaho, but by God, I'm gonna win Idaho.
That's it
Oh
right
my
there.
God. One nation under my heel. God, I love
No,
that slogan.
Actually I do too. It's really, really great. Like it's really great.
The Chris-tatorship. Huddstopia.
Chris-tatorship. That should be a hashtag.
I'm telling you, dude, it's gonna be the worst. It's gonna be the ugliest fucking social media campaign that anyone has ever run.
They'll write books about it later. You fucking bet your ass. I might write a book about it. Just like my firsthand experience involved in the worst presidential campaign in history.
I'm gonna laugh just like that the whole campaign too, and then I'm gonna go back to normal when it's over.
During the first debate, candidate Huddleston cackled maniacally while twirling his fingers, saying, "What exactly do you think you'll do about it?"
While explaining the Brazil plan. He took his whole 10 minutes of debate time talking about genocide.
They asked him about his opinion on big pharma, and he just launched into this tangent about killing everyone in Brazil.
I know a couple of Brazilians. I'm okay with it.
Representative Gabbard cried.
Oh man.
You say big pharma, and he's like, farm, like
Like
cattle farm?
farmers?
Yeah,
Like
like
big
Monsanto?
Fuck Monsanto? Stop burning the rainforest. I'll feed you to the fucking leopards.
Dude, again, I to go back to what I was saying earlier about the, similar to the kid stuff, the burning the rainforest is the same thing. Like you really need to be told not to do that. Like
it's absurd that I have to make a fucking genocide joke.
It's I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that I'm just like, really? How do we all collectively?
Well, it's
go
like
along with
in
this?
the
Why?
70s
Why?
when people are still killing whales.
Yeah.
And they're like, I was watching video
For
footage from
lamp
that.
oil?
Yeah.
And
Like,
the rhinos and
people
elephants
are
and stuff of like,
protesting,
but it makes
and
such
you're
a
like,
pretty necklace.
Oh, these
like
granola
okay.
people protesting. They're like, please stop killing the whales. And it's like, you're like, yeah, stop killing the whales.
Well,
Yep.
But the other question is, why? What do whales do?
Right. Well, a lot,
the thing
apparently.
the thing
Do they?
is, the thing
yeah,
is,
I mean, it's like keystone species type
it's-
thing.
yeah,
They
it's-
eat the gruel that breathes our oxygen.
when you go down
Fuck
it's kind of the rabbit hole related to Jeff Goldblum's
like the coral reef
character
dying
in,
and stuff
in
like that.
Jurassic Park. If the
interrupt the
whales, if the
ecosystem,
whales are
basically.
supposed to die off, they'll die off.
Yeah.
If we kill them off, that disrupts the plan.
Right.
Does
that
it
disrupts
though?
the order.
Like,
Yes,
are
it
we
does.
not part of the plan?
That is the biggest.
We
it's
make
the
bad
one,
plans,
It's
though.
the one thing.
How do you know?
It's the one. It's
What if
it's
there's a
Whatever
big-
we were supposed to
it's the
eat does
one
not
thing
exist on Earth
that
anymore.
separates. Yes. Okay. So
It's an interesting argument.
Here's the thing.
It is, isn't it? Like, what if there's a bigger plan?
Yes.
What if the plan is for us to destroy the planet? And then,
Yeah, like what if it was Earth plus plastic, like Carlin said?
So
yeah,
that's possible.
We don't know.
My
like
argument.
we're fucking stupid.
My argument is, and yes, it relates to why we're stupid, and it relates to our incessant need to meddle. But people always use the argument about like, oh, humans are the only other species on the planet that kill for sport, and it's like, no, we're not. But what we are
House cats do
is
too.
but what we are is the only species on the planet that mass kills for sport. You don't see, because cats kill birds, cats kill mice. That's about it. Dogs kill cats, dogs
but they don't
chickens.
kill. They don't
That's
kill
about it.
mouse.
You
mouse.
don't. No,
Indoor
no.
outdoor cats.
No,
Indoor
no.
outdoor cats are the single worst species,
No,
worse than humans
No,
for their local.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, they might kill some mice, and they might kill some birds. Monkeys, they might fucking get into a territory war with another tribe of monkeys.
Dolphins
But
might
what
rape.
humans do
Terrible.
is they kill birds and fish and dogs and cats and this and that and this. That's the fundamental difference. Is we don't have like dogs kill cats because they're bred to do that.
We're all
And
Randy Orton.
we're indiscriminate.
We are all Randy Orton.
like we'll kill it all. It's all fair game. Some of it's going to be
We
food,
eat
some of it's going to be fun, some of it's going to be, but it's we're all over the map on that. And that's why us disrupting it actually can have an effect, is because there's nothing in humans should want to kill spiders. Humans should want to kill snakes. Oh, I saw my buddy on the other side of the village get bit by one of those and he died. So fuck that, kill that thing. But that doesn't translate to, you know what I want to do with my tax return this year? I want to fly to Africa and I want to stab a fucking lion in the throat because what a thrill. Because people do that. Our dad talks regularly about wanting to go to Africa to kill some great big weird animal just because it's a big weird animal to kill. Other animals on the planet don't do that.
Wait. He doesn't want to do it with a knife, though.
No,
Those are two different things.
Yes.
I would respect.
Well, I would
there,
respect
like,
the fuck out of that.
going over there and doing it with a lion.
Yeah.
Elephant in the jugular.
But
like,
again,
that's just one less
it's-
person, not one less lion.
That's
sealed your face.
and that's the difference where it's like, well, does it really matter if we kill the whales? Yeah, it does, because we don't have any. There's no ingrained genetic thing to us to do it. The closest thing that there is relates to the primal instinct of like the Eskimos and stuff, where they kill them and use them for blubber and food and so on and so forth. You know, they do we use the whole buffalo kind of thing. But
again, we could spread this whole fucking thing across the tribe. That was the motivation there.
Completely separated from the white guy who lives in Idaho who wants to travel to Africa to kill a wild animal for literally no other reason.
From a half a mile away.
Literally no other reason than, man, I killed a fucking weird animal
to get on Jimmy John's wall.
Like that's not, no other species on the planet does that.
But like if you fly to Africa to hunt a Cape buffalo with a spear and a dog, that shit's respectable.
Yes.
Like I'm down with that.
The guy I go back to, he's from around here. He's from Idaho. But he was on the Naked and Afraid.
I have a friend that goes and kills gophers for sport. But they're fucking like rabbits.
When I was in the army,
so there's no end to them. Like there's no danger.
What is it?
Gophers.
First.
Oh yeah, fuck those things up.
Yeah. He reloads his own bullets all year long. Goes on. He's like, yeah.
I'm not sure if you and I are using the term sport, because when I think of going out and doing something for sport, I'm laughing and having a gay old time, and it's a fun, adventurous.
Gophers are not sport. Gophers is
what you're talking about is like the equivalent to like extermination.
Well,
that's a different thing.
But it is.
Does he go out with his? Does he go out with his 22 and just fucking? Oh, look at that one! Oh, bam!
No, he goes to like.
Can a lion be a pest? Actually, a lion can be a pest. A jaguar.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like fun.
It's like borderline work. Yeah. See, when I think of a sport, I think of it as like
but he
a
enjoys
leisure activity.
Right.
Okay. See, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Have you guys ever went hunting?
Yeah, thank you, Tori. Exploding Varmints.
Yeah, I've been hunting.
Do yourself a favor, Ward, and go on YouTube and watch the early 1990s instructional home video called Exploding Varmints. So what it is described as a video that will teach you how to do what it is that your friend does. But what it actually is just like a half-hour video of gophers exploding and a guy laughing over the top of it the whole time.
So I had when I was in the army, we had an interpreter from Sudan, and he was using the Army's interpreter program as a way to become a citizen. And he talked about hunting Cape buffalo and how they did it traditionally. I don't know if he ever did it this way. It depended on how drunk he was, whether or not it was something that he had done himself or something his dad had done. He was 60 years old and just and crazy intoxicated. But so these things you would take, and you and two dogs and your spear, and you'd go out after these motherfuckers. And the dogs were trained to go and latch onto that thing's balls.
See, I respect the hell out of that.
And you went and took that motherfucker out with a spear.
That I respect the hell out of that.
I'm okay with that. You hunt the fuck out of that guy.
I think that is,
because that thing's got two great big spears of its own.
I think that is like the closest you can get to the true natural order of the planet.
And I'll bet that if you went out and did that, that the village could use most of that.
I'm trying to figure out what human that buffalo looks like.
Is that his balls sticking out then?
No, I
wonder if you can find a picture of its balls.
Oh, please don't Google buffalo balls.
Don't do it. Do you still use Bing?
It's just
dog latched to buffalo balls. Maybe they're like a cave
buffalo balls, and it shows the buffalo bills.
Oh, damn it!
Oh, because you put bills. That's why. Okay.
Oh
no, there's a plate of wings.
Yeah, there you go.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Anyway.
Coming at you.
Anyway, so
Anyway, yeah, there's a world of difference because again, I don't think of hunting like gophers. I don't think of that as doing that for sport.
it isn't sport.
I think of that as like another chore that a farmer would do in the same way that they would, you know.
You couldn't enjoy
Tradition. He
you
goes
couldn't
out with
enjoy
his friends
it.
and stuff, and they go and do it. I mean, he does it for what would be quote unquote sport, but
Like recreation,
yeah,
like he doesn't do it to keep them off of his property.
no, it's not property.
If it's not
that's
it's not
fucking
gophers.
disturbing, dude.
Why is that
unless
disturbing?
it's gophers, then it might be fun.
I don't know,
You're
man.
from Lewiston, Idaho, and you find that disturbing.
I
There's
do.
people that do that on the weekend.
I do, man. That's the in
Where
my
the
opinion,
population,
Go out and kill a gopher.
it would be like
That's like the
he's
pigs
not
down
he's
south.
not doing anything.
Have you heard about
Javelinas?
those pigs down south?
I don't know.
Or
No,
the-
man.
or
not
just
the javelinas.
I
They're a
just-
new breed of pig.
I guess it would.
Oh, yeah,
depend-
yeah.
It's an invasive species that
I guess it would.
you don't need a license anymore.
Oh man.
Just
Kind
gotta
of from
kill him. Yeah.
helicopters.
Maybe it would largely depend on like maybe I'd have to see him
Go
doing
over there,
it
or just
and
go over there
see-
and see like
see how
all
much,
the gophers.
see how much enjoyment he's getting out of it.
Well, he's
Have
like
you never
in
seen
his,
Caddyshack?
the guy's
Gophers
like
are
in his
endangered
70s.
species.
It reminds
So
me
I don't
of-
think he's over there going.
see,
Just
but
like-
that's
That's how you
and
imagine
That's,
it.
that's how I imagine.
No,
it when
I
I'm
think
like,
it's
The only good varmint poontang is dead.
I constantly I think of the old South Park episode with Pip where it's the riff on Great Expectations, and the little girl is hooked up to the Genesis device at the end, and Pip is trying to prove that she's a good person by handing her a bag full of baby bunnies, and he's like, "You won't kill this baby bunny," and she just snaps its neck. And she proceeds to go through, and he's like, 23 baby bunnies. You wouldn't possibly mercilessly kill 23 baby bunnies. Like, I can't ever, and I'm not anti-hunting. I'm definitely pro Second Amendment, and I'm definitely not anti-hunting, but I can't ever envision a situation where I would think like, it's Saturday. What should I do today? God, you know what sounds like fun? I want to go blow up a bunch of fucking gophers.
well, he doesn't say it's Saturday and go drive across a fucking state though. He's like he makes plans for this.
Well, yeah,
I'm sure he
but
lets the
still,
population rebuild, and
like,
then they kind of
I don't know.
And then it's basically controlling the population. It's population control in a way, but it's like they've become invasive in a way. It's like the rabbits in fucking Australia.
And that's a
Totally.
and there are two sides to that coin, because there are the guys that are out there doing it because they're an invasive species, and there are the guys that are out there doing it because it's the closest they can get to blowing a living thing up without getting in trouble for it.
I think for my guy, it's probably a combination of the
Oh,
two.
he's your guy now.
See, and that just weird. That just I don't know, man. That just
No.
I'm not trying to pass judgment.
I'm not.
or
No,
anything.
and I'm not trying to
I
make
just-
excuses for the gentleman.
Like that's like the next step to. Well, I just snapped the dog's neck because I wanted to see what happened.
Do you love killing murderer? Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
like it
okay,
just-
it's me. I do it every.
You
no,
know,
I'm-
I don't know. And again, I'm not somebody who's anti-hunting because
Right.
I'm totally pro-hunting. I don't consider that hunting. I just consider that, like I said, really, really towing the line of being like, I can blow these fucking things up and I won't get in trouble for it. I can't do that to babies or something, but I can do it to gophers.
You can. It's just looked down upon.
Yeah, you know,
I don't think he's a Jeffrey Epstein of gophers.
call
but-
me, and
He fucks him first. He fucks him before he gives him to Moloch.
like I said, watch Exploding Varmints and you'll understand what I'm talking about. The guy in Exploding Varmints, when they do the slow-mo instant replay of like, oh, look at how good we got that one. Yeah, you're not out there doing it because it's invasive. You're out there doing it because you like blowing shit up and filming it. Like when you're doing slow-mo replays, that ain't for fucking the betterment of anything but your own boner.
Betterment of boners.
Yes.
Sometimes it's the gore.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's just the gore for some people.
yeah,
I don't have any weird proclivities. Like I just don't.
yeah.
And we've talked about weirdos and how the internet has made them spread, because it used to
And
be
prevalent.
Yeah, it used to be like if somebody had some weird shit that they needed to do, they just kept it to themselves. And eventually found a book depository to climb. But now it's like they've grouped up and they've tried to make that shit normal. And they have conventions and parades and shit now.
Yep.
And it's not cool.
No.
Like-mindedness.
It used to be, you know, if you fucked feet, you just you got lucky and you found a girl that was her thing too. She liked it when people fucked her feet.
And it's cool that you can now go somewhere but find some, you know, like if you're somebody who wants to fuck feet, you can very easily go find people who like to have their feet fucked.
Now, what gender would that be?
It's the double-edged sword of it is when you open that door, that also means that the people who want to do deviant shit
It's about pronouns now, Joe.
that they shouldn't do, it's just as easy for them to find their shit. It's a good and bad situation.
Right. But then also
it's not a good situation though. Like,
where's the line? See, our line is definitely like, okay, XYZ, these are like heinous, awful things. Foot fetish stuff kind of falls somewhere beneath, like
it's harmless,
fucking,
sure.
Right, yeah.
But like it
should be pedophile.
Say your say your let's take furries for example. Furries don't hurt anybody. It's weird as fuck. I genuinely don't understand it at all.
Never understood.
But they don't hurt anybody, right? So let's use furries as an example.
Okay.
In the past, prior to these things existing,
okay. Here's my thing: is I think, just as bear with me.
Yeah.
I think one guy was into furries. He's a good-looking guy, and he just slowly turned like a crowd of people, and it's just like there's been this slow.
And now it's a thing.
Yeah.
So
it started with one guy
in the past.
One guy really wanted to fuck Pikachu.
In the past, you had to, if you were somebody who for one even had the awareness to know that you were into that kind of thing, because that's a big thing, is people suddenly discovering that they're into things that they didn't realize that they were into.
It's like, what are they watching? Like National Planet, and they're like, their eyes kind of like.
They really, really liked getting pictures taken with the characters at Disneyland. The hugs lingered a little bit too long. Yeah, those kind of things.
I know that guy.
But so say that you're, you know, it's pre-internet, pre-Craigslist, pre-private groups on Facebook where you can find like-minded weirdos. Say it's the 80s and you're a furry lover. Imagine how many times you had.
Wait. What is a furry lover?
Well,
the dude that wants to fuck those people. He wants to fuck the high school mascot, basically.
They just basically they wear the wolf heads and shit.
They wear like mascot costumes and like they dress up like animals.
And then fuck each other. Don't, dude. You're gonna end up on the list.
You're gonna end up on a list.
Okay.
Now.
Well, I mean, I get it now. I understand. I've never heard that before.
So. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a real thing.
All right, we're yelling at Ward because he's getting himself on lists.
Ward's getting him put on lists right here. Yeah. So this picture that you see right here, Joe, this is 3 people at a furry convention. They wear these costumes and then fuck each other in them. That's their whole thing. So imagine. Wrong? No, I'm not.
What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is, and this is why I'm saying that having the ability to find like-minded people that share your weird kinks is both a good and a bad thing. Because if you have a bad kink, you can spread it around. But if you have a harmless kink,
yeah. So going back to like the 80s, that's probably the horror Rocky Picture Show then.
Okay.
That's what they had back then.
So you have say you have something like that. Imagine, if you will, if you're somebody, say that was your sexual hang up. Say that's what you liked. Imagine how many times you would have to roll the dice and how much of a level of comfort you would have to establish with your partner prior to being like, okay, so I want to try something different tonight.
Put on this penguin costume.
Exactly. Because she's like, oh, yeah, you know, I've never done that before. Yeah, you've definitely never done this before because I'm going to dress up like Pikachu and rail you. imagine how many times
it's got to be a crazy amount. Like you have to be super comfortable because I've been married almost 18 years, and there's still things that I'm
Dude. Yeah. Yes. And so imagine the amount of comfort. So imagine how difficult it would have been.
Ward needs to take a trip to fucking Mount.
Imagine how difficult it would have been to be somebody with that kind of a hang up or an orientation prior to being able to easily access other people who had your hang up.
Yeah.
How frequently do you think that a furry in the 80s found a fellow furry?
Right.
Until they found that you have to fall into the social circle of it. This
basketball games.
These things existed pre-Facebook, where you had to wind up inadvertently meeting somebody who knew somebody that was like, "Hey, you want to come to a sex party? We're going to a sex party."
Hey, this is great. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but what if we dressed up like theme park animals and fucked?
Yeah, you just you had to be real into that mascot costume while you were in high school, and one of them cheerleaders had to just be like, "Hey, I really like you in that mascot costume."
On the flip side,
there's another one in the closet. Let's go.
On the flip side of that, you have the ready availability of those kind of things for, as I said, for kinks and other things that are deviant of like now everybody who wants to look at pictures of naked kids, it's really, really easy for them to connect with each other. And that is a bad thing.
Yeah.
So it's much like everything. It's a win, some lose.
And that's a bad by like
technology.
Too. But
technology
there's that subset of people that think that's not so bad.
I mean, Uncle Ben said it right to Peter Parker, that with power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
That with this technology we have into it, it also divides us easily between the bad and the good too.
And like I said last show, we're in the adolescence of
I was just about to ask
this technology. We're kind of in the growing pain stage.
It's growing so much so fast.
Yeah.
So fast.
And so some really horrible shit is happening.
My graphics card died so soon.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah, it does.
But can we close the picture of the furries, please?
Oh, is it? Oh,
it's still up there.
Well, it's not on the main screen.
No, I know, but
they're looking at Ron.
I'm staring at it. They're looking at me.
Here, you want to look at Corn Nimic?
Not really.
Well, you try it. So.
Hey, I learned many years ago, unless you're hurting somebody and they like doing what you're doing with them, I don't kink shame anybody, man. If you want to do weird shit and everybody's consensual, then I'm not going to say I understand it, but go for it, man. If you're not hurting somebody, everybody's having fun, then have fun.
Oh no, I'll kink shame you. I'm not going to tell you it needs to be illegal.
Can I have one of yours?
Yeah,
I think you're a fucking douchebag.
I think some of it's weird.
But you do you. I don't. As long as you shut up about it and keep it in your bedroom, do your thing. It's none of my.
Yeah, as long as you're not hurting anybody in the bedroom, what you do in there is none of my business.
But if you're going to talk about it, then I'm going to make you feel bad about it, because shame is real, and there's a reason we feel it.
There's a lack of shame in this society.
Nobody's supposed to feel bad about what they do anymore, because feeling bad is not something that anybody wants to do.
Bring back the pillory. There's another fucking campaign slogan. Bring back the pillory.
No, that's a bad campaign slogan. Nobody will know what you mean. Not enough people. The average American person is not, especially you're on the ballot in Idaho. Sorry, Idaho. The average Idahoan
doesn't know
what the fuck a pillory is.
Hillary Clinton?
Fuck that bitch. Fuck that Democrat bitch. They misspelled their sign.
They can't even fucking spell.
That's
drown them in the fucking Snack River.
What's sad is you have people who thought that.
Yeah.
There's
Pillory. They calling her Pillory because she's into pills. She takes them pills before she sacrifices the kids to her devil. That fucking devil woman.
So,
Ron.
Yes.
Horror movies.
Oh,
not to completely.
Oh, did the devil remind you?
It's Halloween time, and I'm a full-blown slut for, well, as I'm sure anybody who, the three of you that watch this have figured out, I'm a big slut for movies.
There's not a person I know that can speak to movies more than you. And I thought I had a pretty good handle on things, and Hudds had a pretty good handle on things. And then you came to the show and you bring this whole different level of love.
It's seriously, I was actually when my ex-wife and I were still dating, prior to us electing to move in together and starting our family, I was very, very heavily toying with the notion of moving to California and just being like, you know what, fuck it, because I don't have aspirations to be an actor.
You wanted to work in the business.
I just want to work in the business. I like the process of filmmaking. If I could act, sure, I would try it.
Well, I wanted to when I was growing up. That was what
that's not my end game. My end game is I like the nuance of what goes into the actual craft of it.
For me, and maybe this is for you as well, what stopped me from kind of pursuing more aggressively that career path was this small, the foot that you have grounded in reality of the odds that you're going to make it there, one, or in that setting. And you can work in the business professionally, I think.
See, I bullshitted myself because my argument was, no,
I talked myself out of it because I thought I couldn't hack it.
This was, I'm opposite end of the spectrum. I talked myself into it because my argument was, Ron, you're not trying to go to Hollywood and be an actor. Because you're, no offense, I know my girlfriend thinks I'm really handsome and I hear it from people, but I don't think that I'm ugly by any means. But I wouldn't consider myself, people don't want to see me on a movie poster. I'm sorry. I'm
that's what character actors are for, though.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But again, I'm not trying to go down there and be a character actor. I'm just trying to go down there and work in the industry.
Within the industry, yeah. So you missed a great episode when we had Bruno on.
Yeah,
Did you watch that episode?
Yeah, I did, and I'm really, really fucking sad.
We're having him back on.
Good.
Shout out to Bruno.
Good. Thank you, Bruno,
Friend
for
of the
coming back.
show.
Because seriously, I watched that episode and I was dying that I wasn't on here for it.
So many questions. So many questions.
Yeah. So many questions. And tying it into the subject for this and the subject for this month, it's one of the reasons why I love horror so much. Is there is nothing quite like low budget horror, and especially stuff that is from this 70s and 80s golden era of practical effects. Prior to nowadays, it's gotten so cheap to do CG that everybody leans on it, and it's just not the same.
I agree with you because I can tell you, I'd rather see stop motion in a horror movie than CG,
mm-hmm.
or what they did with Gremlins.
I'd rather see nothing and just let my imagination do the work.
No, there's that too.
CG.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But if they ever redid Gremlins with CG, it wouldn't be the same.
No, it's there's the only word that I can use to describe it. No matter how bad a practical effect may be, it has weight.
Mm-hmm.
Even
stop motion still has this almost real kind of creepy kind of
there's still
the Ring type quality when the girl's crawling out of the TV kind of.
There's a lot of with stop motion, especially if you try to intermix it with live action.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of forced perspective that goes into it, so it does make it look kind of unnatural. But it has that weight. You can tell it's really there. There is a switch in your brain,
right?
That no matter how good CG gets, because some of the CG that's out now, it's a big thing for David Fincher's movies. If you ever want to see movies that you don't even know have CG in them, go check out a YouTube discussion about the amount of CG footage that is used of all movies. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It will blow your mind how much of that movie is not real.
Oh wow!
And that kind of CG, you don't because then you're just talking about, okay, well, they filmed this shot while they were driving down a road one day, and the story needed it to be snowing, but it wasn't snowing on the day they were filming, so they CG'd it and make it look snowy. That kind of CG, that can trick your brain, because if it's done well enough and it looks natural enough, that can trick your brain into just, you're just saying, you don't even think about it. But when you see a guy standing there talking to something that your brain knows doesn't exist, no matter how good the CG is, you can't turn that off. You can't.
Right.
And with the practical effects, it's easier to do because it is really there. Even though you know that it's not a real thing, even though you know it's a guy in a suit or an intricate series of levers and pulleys and stuff, it's really there. It has weight. It exists.
Well, that's why Sesame Street is sells so much more so than if you're watching like an animated version of Sesame Street or animated fucking Fraggle Rock. I never wanted to watch animated Fraggle Rock.
No.
Nobody.
Horse shit.
But so
can you believe that the old man on that was the old man from fucking Boondock Saints?
Yeah.
Every time I think about that, my fucking brain just shoots out my ass.
Well,
it cuts through the window.
Speaking of weird people turning up, when I watched one of the, so for October, I love horror movies in general. They're probably my favorite genre, but for October, I really try to lean in, and it's basically the only kind of movie that I watch. And
you commit.
I've tried to broaden my horizons and watch more things that I had never seen before. Like in the past couple of days, I watched the Reanimator trilogy.
It's like how in December Karens watch Hallmark movies all month long.
I've seen Reanimator 1 more times than I can count. I was familiar with the sequel, Bride of Reanimator, but I hadn't ever actually watched it. I'd seen parts of it, and I was familiar with like what happened in the story, but I'd never actually sat down and watched it.
Yeah, I mean, you're dropping titles to stuff when you were talking in like our chat and stuff that I'm like, I've never heard of these.
And the third one, Beyond Reanimator, I didn't even know existed. That's because it came out like 14 years after the second one did. But Reanimator is one of my favorite horror comedy movies of all time because it's not a horror movie in the jump scary sense. It has a couple jump scares, but it's more of a horror movie in the just like the disturbing sense of giving weight to what's actually going on in the movie and being like, holy shit, this is dark and fucked up and whatnot. But it borders on farce at times. Like at one point, a severed head is disconnected from its body, and the doctor uses the reanimating reagent on both of them to try and see what happens. And the head is trying to instruct the body to move through the room, and it's just knocking shit over. And it's full blown fucking physical comedy in the middle of a really gross out horror movie type thing. But in the sequel, Bride of Reanimator, the love interest is, I discovered today, a lot of vagina from the Austin Powers movies.
No shit.
No shit. I was watching it and I was like over halfway through the movie. I was like, where have I seen her before? Like, I don't know who she is, but I know that I know who she is. And so I Googled it when the movie was over, and yeah, she was a lot of vagina.
That's too funny.
But my girlfriend and I sat down and we went through the movies that I have on my hard drive, the movies that I have on DVD, and anything that we could quickly find on Prime or Netflix or whatever. And we made a list of 43 or 44 movies to do just a random spin of the wheel.
That's more than 31, Ron.
Well, that's why I watched. That's why I watched Bride of Reanimator and Beyond Reanimator in the same day. Yeah, sometimes you got to double dip. But so far, I made a list in the chat, and to discuss which ones it was that I had seen, and now I'm blanking on all of them. But there was the first one that we watched was The Burning, which is the one that Harvey Weinstein wrote. That, like I said, it's like an anti-slasher movie, because if you've ever seen a slasher movie from the 70s or the 80s, Friday the 13th. Halloween kind of started to fall into that line. There's always a girl. She's always the virginal one. The slutty girls get offed. The killer stalks their prey. Where the final girl term comes from. The Burning is like the anti-slasher movie. The lead, you don't have a final girl. The lead is a male. There are no kills in the movie for like literally the first 40 minutes of the movie. And I believe 6 of the 8 kills that happen in the movie all happen in one scene.
Oh, wow.
So it's like 40 minutes of very, very slow build. Somebody dies, another 15, 20 minutes
like,
go by. And then this group of 2 groups of kids are out on canoes.
Death roulette.
And it's crazy. And fucking boom, 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 boom. They all die like instantaneously. But it flies in the face of a lot of the typical rules that you see in those kind of slasher movies like Scream.
Right.
You know, those kind of things. But The Burning, it was decent. Tom Savini, Sex Machine from Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big special effects guy. He did the special effects for Night of the Living Dead.
One of the best.
He's one of the best. He did the effects for it. The one that made me laugh really hard was Tori said towards the end of the movie when the killer got unmasked, she's like, his face looks like fucking chewed bubble gum because he's a burn victim, and it's really great effects.
It was, wasn't it?
No, I think that was probably kind of what the design was modeled on, but it wasn't actually. So we watched The Burning. As I said, I did the Reanimator trilogy. Jeffrey Combs is the ultimate mad scientist, and the way that he is able to rope his lab assistant through the movies. So if you've ever seen The Frighteners,
Probably.
that's about it's Michael J. Fox. He's the weird cop.
Oh yeah. He moves in that house.
Yeah.
He goes into the medicine cabinet or whatever. Okay.
He's the weird cop that's in that movie. That's
I can't
Jeffrey
think of
Combs.
him as anybody but Herbert West.
No, I can't either.
And I haven't seen the other two.
He's perfect in the role. He's able to deliver lines that are definitely like B-movie lines and make them not seem like you kind of chuckle, but you don't like laugh. Like, this is retarded kind of thing, you know? And there's all sorts of just really, really funny lines that are, like I said, proof that it is truly meant to be a comedy. The sequel was neither written nor directed by Stuart Gordon, which is the guy that did the first one. It's based off of an H.P. Lovecraft short story about as loosely as you can base a story.
Yeah.
And laughably enough, the sequel is also about as loosely as you can be based off of the exact same story.
Oh, wow.
It in turn like follows the events of the first one, but then disregards some of the events of the first one. It's kind of it's a really weird sequel.
It's not a great short story either.
No, it's not. But the second one, you can really tell that they were leaning into the let's make something that people can laugh at thing. It's a little bit more of a chuckle inducing, like there's a severed head who is reanimated, and he uses his mind powers to convince someone to surgically add bat wings to his head so that he no longer has to have his disembodied head carried around. He can just fly around. and I mean, it's silly.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, the third one, Stuart Gordon actually came back and did the third one, and it is almost more of like a sequel to the first one and kind of disregards the second one in some ways. And Thor's wife is the love interest, Chris Hemsworth.
No shit.
Elsa Pataki is her name. But it was another one that I was like, where have I seen her before? It's like, oh, okay, it's Thor's wife. And the third one is fucking great.
Sure.
Like the second one is dumb, bad fun, but the third one is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
it's really really great
Huh.
because it's the first one where like the first one, West is a weirdo who's obsessed with death. The second one has a lot of, the whole point of the second one is them trying to assemble a corpse from body parts and then bring it to life instead of bringing a dead body back to life. So the second one has really heavy Frankenstein vibes to it.
Okay.
The third one is basically kind of just a mishmash of the two, and Jeffrey Combs is just
Doesn't give a
the
shit.
ultimate. Like I said, he is just mad. He just, what's this? It's dead. Let's see what happens to it when I do this. Kind of, it's really off the rails, and it's really fun.
Frighteners 3.
I watched Halloween and Hellraiser.
The original?
Yeah.
I haven't seen, I can't remember the last Halloween I saw. Probably the second one.
I don't like the Rob Zombie ones.
I didn't see either of them. No, I saw the third one that had
I-
nothing to do with Michael Myers. Was it?
Yeah, Season of the Witch is great.
It shouldn't have been a Halloween movie.
No, it shouldn't have.
Or they should have made the
If-
whole thing, the whole series, an anthology.
If it wouldn't have been called Halloween 3, it would have been a successful horror movie.
I bet it would have.
Because it's actually a good movie. It's just everybody hates it because it's supposed to be a Michael Myers movie, and then it's not.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Rob Zombie ones. I'm not a big fan of Rob Zombie's movies, personally. The only thing he's done that I really enjoyed was Lords of Salem.
Was that one good?
Yeah, it's actually good. It's creepy.
House of a Thousand Corpses was really just Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a
It's-
different movie.
No, it's
like,
it's an homage in the fucking loosest term, because it's basically just
that's almost an
plagiarism.
insult to the word, though.
It's
like,
basically plagiarism. It's as close as you could get to plagiarism without it actually being like
it's like a clown
legal-
jerked off on
Yeah,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
it's yeah. There's
Hills Have Eyes. That was a pretty good remake.
The Hills Have Eyes remake was really good,
That's
that
just
movie-
a disturbing fucking
Pretty
play.
brutal.
That-
Yeah.
but that's why the remake works.
You know what that's
is-
based on?
That's why the remake works. Is the first one was really uncomfortable, and the remake, all they did was they took everything about the first one that was discomforting and weird and off-putting and just cranked it to 11. It's really fucked up.
Do you know what it's based on?
Hmm.
These two people, like these two Scottish people, took off and lived in some caves, like by the ocean, and they had like 16 kids, and the kids had like kids, and there were like 64 people living in these caves, and they would
Jesus.
just kill and rape people
Ugh.
that came by on the road, and that's where the whole story came from.
Really?
Like, that was the inspiration for that whole idea. They used,
It was a
What?
true story.
yeah,
Ugh,
they
Yeah,
used
that's disturbing.
Well, you know, there's a lot of inspiration for Texas Chainsaw from like Ed Gein and stuff.
Well, they didn't
so,
find each other on the
you know,
internet, though, did they?
yeah, like 90% of
Yeah.
slasher movie
Yeah.
killers were based on Ed Gein. Which is fucked.
Let's see. The other night I watched Midsummer.
How was that? It's been on my
Mm.
list, but I just haven't.
I personally, I love it.
Yeah,
I really, really like it. I can see why it's a movie. It's like 2.5 hours long, and I can see why it's a movie that's not for everybody. But Tori and I watched it, and Tori, if you're still watching the show, you can probably back me up on this. It's a movie that genuinely sticks with you.
yeah.
Like it gets fingers in your brains, and you will be thinking about it for
Is it
days
like a
after.
good Wicker Man? Is that how you would describe it?
There are a lot of similarities to it. Think like a mix between Cannibal Holocaust and Wicker Man.
Okay.
This group of people go to kind of observe a ritualistic societal custom,
Hmm.
much like Cannibal Holocaust, but the custom itself is very, very Swedish, Norwegian, European feel, very similar to Wicker Man. And then, like both movies, things go wrong, and they realize that these people are
They're not going to go home.
that they're not going to go home.
Is it found
but
footage?
no.
No. Okay.
No, the
Those drive me
the
nuts.
lead actress, Florence Pugh. She's watch for her if you don't know who she is. She's going to be in the new Black Widow movie. She is a super pretty girl and a super talented actress. She's the lead in it, and she is phenomenal. Chidi from The Good Place is in it. A really great movie.
I'm not going yet.
Did you watch Hereditary?
No. Maybe.
I've heard that's one to watch.
Watch Hereditary. If you like it, chances are you will like. Oh yeah, the surrealness is actually a good thing. There are several times while they're in the cult that, and I'm sorry, I'm getting into a little bit of spoilers here, but there are several times while they're interacting with the cult where they are given tea or something to eat or something like that has hallucinogenic properties.
Mm-hmm.
I've never in my life seen a movie that more accurately represents hallucinogens.
Mm-hmm.
Because the scenes are playing out
In Heredity?
no, in Midsummer.
Midsummer?
They were written and directed by the same guy. That's why I ask. If you like one, chances are you'll enjoy the other. But just imagine, as someone who's hallucinated before, imagine a hallucinatory experience where the person that you're talking to is sitting here talking to you, but for some reason the couch is doing this
Mm-hmm.
while they're talking. Those are the kind of things that happen in the movie. They're really subtle. They're really not the focus of it, but they're disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to that tone that they would play, where it's like you're paying attention to the scene, but your eyes keep being drawn to the fact that everything around them is moving in the most subtle, unnatural way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really uneasy. It's personally, it's a really, really great movie. I really, really enjoy it. A movie that I did not enjoy, that I also watched, that I called 10 minutes into it, The Lie.
The Lie.
Yes, with Sarsgaard.
Yeah, Peter
Laughably enough,
Sarsgaard.
Peter Sarsgaard is in it. It's on Hulu.
Or Steven Dorff, whichever one.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Steven Dorff.
Well, I think I run those two in my head together, and they're
It's
totally different actors.
The movie was written and directed by the gal who created The Killing, the AMC show, which was not bad.
And Sarsgaard's also in that.
Yes, he is.
He plays in it for a season.
Mm-hmm. And the lead actress from The Killing is the wife of the show. But imagine, I don't know. Do we just spoil it, Ward?
Fuck it.
Imagine,
Joe, are you worried about spoilers?
Are you worried about spoilers
The
from a bad
Lie?
movie?
I've never watched it. So.
If you
Okay.
hated it and you figured it out in 10 minutes,
Okay.
I don't think spoiling
So,
it's going to ruin anybody's day.
basically, imagine the entire concept of the movie The Parent Trap, where young
A Disney movie?
Yeah.
With Haley Mills?
Or
Good
Lindsay
morning, Miss
Lohan.
Bliss.
or Lindsay Lohan.
Lohan.
But Lohan, yes, I saw that meme.
There's a meme.
Yeah, somebody made a meme of it, and they made her arms all long and stuff. It's weird.
Oh, that's funny. I did not know that.
Yeah, so imagine, if you will, the plot of The Parent Trap, only done as a horror movie, where the girl decides that in an effort to get her parents, one of whom is a struggling musician and kind of free spirit, and one of whom is a lawyer, that she is going to get them to conspire to help her cover up her accidental murder. And she's going to do that in an effort to get them to rekindle their relationship. That's the movie. And it is dumb as shit. And I called it, like I said, I called it 10 minutes into it, because as soon as the murder happened and the parents got together to talk, the way that the daughter was acting, I turned to Tori and I was like, what if she's just like parent trapping them?
Mm-hmm.
And then lo and behold, that wound up being what the movie was about. Not good.
Original.
In the Mouth of Madness.
Love it.
Kind of.
Good.
What more can you say about it? That movie's fucking great.
Oh my God.
It's one of my favorite John Carpenter movies.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China.
My favorite, all-time favorite.
One of my
The
all-timers.
Thing is my personal favorite of his. Yes.
The
As
Thing is
much as
great.
I love Halloween, The Thing is my favorite.
Yeah.
Sam Neill's great.
So I watched a movie the other night for the first time, which was Cabin in the Woods. I had never
You
seen
haven't
it.
seen it?
I'm
9
surprised
years.
you hadn't
It's
seen
been
it.
9 years since
Yeah.
it's been out.
It's
and
a
I
fun
hadn't seen it.
show.
I had a kick out
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
It's
And it's got two of my favorites in it, Richard Jenkins and Bradley Whitford.
I
Yeah.
think and Thor.
You can't go wrong with those guys. No. Yeah.
And that's I think that's Josh Whedon's. I think that's where
Some of
he
his
peaked.
best work.
Yeah.
I think he peaked right there.
it's
Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods is great. If you haven't seen it, Joe, find out.
I have seen it, but
Okay.
it didn't give me a lasting impression. Like, wasn't it like a game show or something like that at the end?
Sort of, but not.
Sort of like a game show, or
It was
No.
rigged, but I wouldn't call it a game
rigged.
show.
Yeah. It was,
I don't know. I remember watching it, but it
watch
I
it.
saw it in the
Watch it
theater.
as
I really
watch it as
enjoyed it.
2020 Joe instead of 2011 Joe or 2012 Joe.
2020 Joe.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was kind of just like random people went in there, and it was all like there was traps and things. But I've seen it. It was on Netflix a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's actually. I think it's
It's
still
on
there.
Hulu right now.
It's a good show. I would strongly recommend it.
It's been on Prime Video for
Yeah.
a year at least.
Yeah.
Prime is where I found a lot of this.
And
horror
that's
gem.
it's sad because I know I've been told for the last few years to watch that movie.
It's a good show.
And
Drew
I'm
Goddard, the guy that did the Daredevil TV show on Netflix, he's the one that was behind that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw him in the credits.
Mhm.
It's one of those like horror is a genre that like I don't stick around for it. Like I can come and go from it.
It's so hard to pull off well.
It's
Right.
It's probably
the
as
hardest.
hard.
That and comedy.
Yeah.
It's
Because
the
I don't like
hardest
jump
to pull
scare
off.
stuff.
A good jump scare is effective, but you can't build your movie on them. If the only thing that you can scare people with is a loud noise that is unexpected, your movie's not scary.
And-
Did you see You Should Have Left with Kevin Bacon?
Not yet. It's on my. It's one of the movies that's in our list.
I want to talk with you about it after you've watched
to
it. We should talk about it next show.
But
Cabin in
Get
the
to it
Woods
by
hits both of them really hard and really well.
Mhm.
And it's just really fucking good. And then you look at so many others and
That's-
they
dude,
all just
Reanimator,
miss.
same thing.
Yep.
There are some genuinely like disturbing horror type shit in Reanimator, but there's also full blown comedy where a guy reanimates a dead cat's body, and before it comes back to life, he looks at the dude next to him and says, "Now don't expect it to tango because it has a broken back." Like yeah.
You know, but you said The Hills Have Eyes earlier, and I think really what a lot of these movies need in them in a big way is this kind of deliverance type atmosphere to them, almost like
that
this
wrong turn.
yeah, it's like, oh, I shouldn't be here. This is like not where I broke down, like we're broke down.
Yeah.
Raw reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll bite you.
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
All of them, they have that. These city kids went into the wrong spot.
Right. Got it. They took the wrong turn. Yeah.
They
You on the wrong country road, son.
Right.
And I don't know. It's never been my experience with country people.
Because Deliverance
but-
is really, it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
without question.
It's not a conventional horror movie, but it's absolutely a horror movie.
Yeah, and it that's another one that's in that same exact Texas Chainsaw vein, or Wrong Turn, or Hills Have Eyes. Like it's that movie.
yeah.
People are getting stalked. People are getting
Let's
assaulted,
see.
And it's this
murdered,
cunning,
and-
it's a cunning lunatic, basically.
yeah,
So
yeah. House of a Thousand Corpses.
To-
And then after
Prince
that,
of Darkness. That's actually a pretty good old one too.
what's that?
Prince of
Prince
Darkness.
of Darkness. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
who's in that one?
It's on my list of
Some guy with an afro
it's on my list of movies to watch.
and the mustache.
It's
First Power. I think that was what it was called.
It's
look
Donald Pleasance is in it, and Victor
Oh,
Wong.
the guy from Big Trouble Little China.
Yeah, Victor Wong.
Victor Wong,
That
yes.
is also in Tremor. Yeah, the old Asian dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You Should Have Left is same director as
Graboids.
Did you know that?
Really?
I've heard there are a lot of similarities between the
There
two
are
movies.
similarities between the two
I
movies.
didn't know it was the same guy, but
Yeah.
I've heard there are
Kevin
a lot
Bacon
of
and that
similarities
director are
between
like,
the movies.
let's do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Because as I'm watching it, I'm like, this really resonates with the Stir of Echoes vibe.
Okay. So yeah, let's see. We did. I've watched In the Mouth of Madness. From Beyond, I watched, which is another one that is like
Sci-fi.
it was Stuart Gordon's movie that he made after he made Reanimator. It has a lot of the same people that are in Reanimator. Jeffrey Combs is in it. Barbara Crampton's in it. It's basically like if you took Reanimator and Hellraiser and smushed them together. It's like Reanimator, but with weird, deviant, horrible, S&M-y, creepy demon sex shit from Hellraiser added into it. Jeffrey Combs and this other doctor.
How much of that was in the first Hellraiser? It's been a while since I've seen the first one.
It's
There was one good sex.
the thing about the first Hellraiser is it was really the Cenobites were really undefined.
I thought so.
Pinhead was not Pinhead in the first. Literally, fun trivia fact: the first Cenobite to be killed in the original Hellraiser is Pinhead.
I thought so.
Yeah, he's the first one to be banished back to whatever dimension it is. It wasn't until after that movie was successful and he was a really iconic look that they started to lean more into Pinhead. Yeah. But there's a scene in Hellraiser where I can't remember her name, but the young girl, which that was her first movie, actually, and she did a fucking bang up job for it being her first movie. She's talking to the Cenobites when she makes the deal with them in order to save her own life, and she's finding out what they are. And Pinhead describes them as being they're like the quintessential apex of physical sensation.
Right.
For some people it's pleasure, for some people it's pain. He literally says he's like, some of us are to somewhere gods, to somewhere devils. So there's I haven't seen this.
It scared the shit out of me. I was like 11.
But the one thing that is weird about it is they really lean more into the pain aspect of it than they do the pleasure aspect of it, especially in the movies. But it's the doctor finds a way to make this machine that when you turn it on, it stimulates the pineal gland in your brain, which is scientifically, like in real science, it's related to concepts of extrasensory perception. And so they take that and they're like, okay, well, what happens when you really? You've never? Oh yeah, we definitely need to. I haven't watched Deliverance since I was in like high school.
I've never stayed awake through it.
It's it's worth a watch.
I love it.
I've
watched it several times.
It's worth a watch.
I can't make it past the first 15 minutes.
It's a little bit
like Valium.
It's a little slow.
Watching it now makes you, and I don't want to distract from your train of thought, but watching it now makes you sad to see how much Burt Reynolds deteriorated.
Oh,
from like he was like 42 in that, and he's like cut, and then like he died at like 80.
Yeah.
And was just like wheelchair bound and
in bad shape.
Yeah. But it's from doing like he did a lot of his own stunts and stuff
Watch
when he was
striptease.
Yeah.
And he's still in fucking great shape.
Like even into like the 2000s, he was in
Boogie Nights. He was still doing all right.
He did stuff in My Name Is Earl too.
Yeah. So anyway, the doctor figures out how to operate this machine that they call the resonator, and the resonator emits like extrasensory energy that stimulates your pineal gland and allows you to see into basically what amounts to like parallel dimensions,
Mhm.
where things go when we die, those kind of things. And so like at the very first time that you see it, Jeffrey Combs's character is in there when it's turned on, and he sees this like eel thing, and it's a really cool effect because all they did was you shoot it with a reverse negative and then overlay that over the film as a special effect, so it looks like it's like grainy and translucent in the shot,
Mhm.
but it's not, and it's this like weird pinkish eel thing that's just swimming through the air, and he's staring at it and thinks it's cool and all that kind of stuff, and then it like jumps down and bites his face, and he realizes that you can, when your brain is stimulated, you can interact with these things. Well, so they leave the machine on, and the doctor that created the machine winds up getting like taken into the dimension, and so the next time they turn the machine on, it brings him back, and it becomes like a drug to them because of the stimulation that they get from it,
Mhm.
because it's really physically arousing, like sexually arousing, and one of the characters literally refers to them being like junkies, and if you're gonna watch something like Reanimator that has that really like over the top, try to gross you out practical effects, but with weirdness on top of it, From Beyond is like that cranked up more. Like I said, it's Stuart Gordon. You could tell that he wanted to make a really off-putting, weird, fucked up movie with Reanimator.
Mhm.
And then after he did it and went to his next movie, it was like, okay, well, I learned all of this stuff from this movie, so now I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
And like the doctor guy that created the machine, every time that he comes back from the dimension, he's mutated more. And Barbara Crampton's character, every time that she uses it, she becomes like more and more sexually deviant. And at one point, Jeffrey Combs's character spends so much time with the machine that his pineal gland swells and winds up like erupting out of the front of his head and is like flopping around like a little fucking springy dick. And it's really fucking weird. And if you enjoy Reanimator, it's a movie that you would probably enjoy. It's weird and gross and really funny. And the what is it? The black guy from Night of the Living Dead is in it. He plays a cop. But that was a good one. I enjoyed that.
Rumor has it they put fluoride in the water to calcify your pineal gland, so you lose your psychic potential.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
that's interesting.
It has
I don't know if I buy into that, but
it has
I see something about it. at
What's
least
the
2 or 3 times
specifics
a
on
week.
our appendix?
it has a tremendous tagline.
Mine's gone, but
Yeah, it was meant to digest. It was like
supposed to
another
be a second stomach, wasn't it?
step in the digestive process. That's why people who chew their nails end up having to lose it, because it was something about that.
Yeah.
It was to,
So
it was to digest a
First
specific
thing-
we have moved past.
Oh,
And
See,
so
like they chew and eat their nails?
like
Because I didn't chew and eat my
people who
nails,
chew
but
and
I've
eat
chewed
their
my nails.
people who chew their nails end
Just-
up being Jesus Christ
right?
are more likely to end up with
Wow.
appendicitis. I'm not sure why, but
Boy, how long do they have to do to get that study done? What is that?
That is his like basically final form in the movie. You could pull it up if you just search for From Beyond, but
It's
like I
fucking
said,
horrible.
it's all cool practical effects that, you know, if you're into those kind of things like I am. From Beyond.
what the fuck did you find? Some Dragon
Some
Ball
sort of
Z shit.
anime shit.
Oh,
That's it.
remove the final form thing.
It's not even
'Cause
my
it's-
final form.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're getting lots of DBZ stuff from that. Yeah, all sorts of just really, really awesome,
It's like the end of the boys, right?
awesome practical effects. Which those are my absolute jam. It's one of the reasons why The Thing is my favorite Carpenter movie. But like I said, every time he comes back through the machine, he just gets more and more grossly deranged, and I don't know. It's a fun gross out movie. I already talked about it previously on the show, but I did get around to watching the Poughkeepsie tapes, which is the one that is the.
And you hadn't watched it before?
No, I'd seen it.
Okay, that's what I said. That's what I was wondering because I thought you had recommended it.
Yeah, no, I had seen it, but I hadn't seen it in years, and Tori had never watched it, so we sat down to watch it together. It really, man, it holds up. Like, it's like watching just an episode of Cold Case Files or Unsolved Mysteries or something like that, but it's just cranked up to the fucking creepiest, grossest. It's really, really well done. It's an unsettling movie. Like
and it's spelled P-O-U.
Yeah, just
G-H.
like in New York.
Yeah.
New York.
I'm gonna have to check
But
it out. Is it free somewhere other than
The high seas.
other
the
than the
high
high
seas?
seas? I think so.
Okay.
I think you can rent it.
I've seen it before
I
though.
think you can
It'll
rent
pop
it
up
through Prime.
Okay.
But if you
You can
want,
rent
I have it. I
anything.
could bring you a copy of it that you could watch.
It's too much work, man.
But it has, and I don't.
Watching stuff on flash drives is so 2012.
Well, consider me old school then.
I just got so tired of doing
Well, just
it.
call me Miles Davis.
Right. I don't remember if I referenced it when we were talking about it when I recommended it, but it has arguably the most unsettling line I've ever heard in a movie ever, because you're like 40 minutes into the movie and he's killed all these people and he uses the handy cam footage to do all of it and whatnot, and he picks up this lady in a car that he's driving around that's supposed to be made up to look like a cop car, and the camera starts rolling and he talks to her and he's like, no, it's okay. There's actually, if you take the turn off up here, there's a gas station and I can take you to there and we can use the phone there and blah, blah, blah. And he just out of nowhere, he's like, it's really kind of foolish to just get in the car with a stranger. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, haven't you heard about the serial killer guy that's, out? And she's like, well, yeah, but he only targets prostitutes.
Toots.
And he's like, well, yeah, that's what the news says. I guess that's true. And then he just kind of leaves it at that. Like, it's really weird, but he doesn't come right out and say anything. It's just a really, really uncomfortable conversation.
That the dialogue from that scene reminds me. I started watching The House That Jack Built the other day.
Oh, the Lars von Trier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it, but I'm gonna have to go back and finish it because I fell asleep.
Baby.
And so he lets the conversation hang there, and then he just goes, "Can I ask you something?" She goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "When you got in the car earlier, why did you call me officer?" And she's like, "Well, because you're a cop." He's like, "I'm not a cop. I'm a butcher."
Why would you think that?
And she immediately figures out what's going on and starts pleading for her life. And he literally tells her, he's like, "Okay, I'll make you a deal. We're going to pull over and I'm going to rape you and you're not going to fight. And if you don't fight, I won't kill you." And this lady literally bargains for her life. And as soon as she gets him to agree to it, he responds, "Actually, I changed my mind. I don't think you or I are going to want you alive for the things I'm going to do to you."
Oh, God.
And it's like, it's so
disturbing.
so awesome and so fucking, and it's strong recommendation.
That's reserved for those guys that need to find each other on the internet.
It's an upsetting movie. And he takes a girl hostage and goes full Stockholm syndrome on her and helps her get complicit in some of the murders. And yeah, dude, it's worth your time. It's a fucked up, really, really good movie.
Which one's this?
Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's all about a serial killer that was operating in an allegedly, it's all fake. But
did you watch Creep?
Yeah, and Creep 2.
And Creep 2?
Yeah.
I liked them.
I didn't like them as a whole, but there were some really, really, really fucking bright spots.
Well, that's where
Yeah, I don't like
the
that
whole-
actor.
on the whole of them. You don't like what's his name?
Mark Duplass. I'm on the fence.
There's
about
stuff
him.
he's
And
done well in, and there's stuff he kind of shits the bed with.
I don't
There's-
like that handy cam kind of way it was shot. I didn't like the content. I didn't like the way it was executed. The whole package was just shit to me.
See, that movie had one of the problems, and it's the biggest reason, honestly, why I am as big of a fan of Poughkeepsie Tapes as I am is, as I said in the previous show, found footage movies have the fundamental flaw of why are they still filming? Why would you not just turn the camera off and nope the fuck out of there? And Poughkeepsie Tapes makes it work because the murderer that you're following is the one running the camera. So of course he's not going to turn the camera off because he's trying to document his fun.
Right.
But Creep, there were a few too many moments, and especially in the second one, there were a few too many moments where I was like, dude, you're not going to nope out of here at this.
I got more out of the first one than the second.
Yeah,
Blair
definitely.
Witch was one that it made sense why the camera was always going.
Blair Witch was another one that worked.
And I didn't mind that one.
No.
And I remember
Blair
how
Witch
good that was.
fooled a lot of people.
We were sitting, we watched we should have caught it as soon as we noticed it was on Sci-Fi.
Right.
The drama was on.
Uh-huh.
We went and looked it up on AOL right after.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
God, we weren't, what was I like?
You're looking online.
17 and you were fucking 12.
I think I was
13?
12. I think I was 12 when that movie came out. I think
13.
it came out in 96.
What?
Blair Witch.
So I must
98.
98?
Yep.
Yep,
It was my
I was-
freshman year of
I was
college.
13.
I was
then.
17
I was
and you were
13.
13.
Yeah. Damn.
And
I actually met that the lead character lady. I don't know her
Heather?
name, but I saw her in a music store.
Her name's
And
Heather.
she had-
Yeah.
Heather, and she had a little dog. Or no, the music store had a little dog, and literally when she walked in, this little dog ran up and just started barking and barking and barking and barking at her until she actually just turned around and left.
Huh.
This
Weird.
was in Grass Valley, California. where I was
yeah,
living
she
at.
got possessed by that witch in the woods.
You must have. That dog, little dog, man, did not fucking like
That's
her.
funny.
She's.
I read a fan theory about that movie that those boys took her out into the woods to kill her, and they were fucking with her the whole time. They hid the map from her, and they kept turning her things around at night. They were the ones doing all the stuff, and the way the theory was presented was really, really well done.
There's a lot of improv in that movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes it shows, but no, it's an effective movie.
What about Cloverfield though? Because that was like shot in the same way.
That movie had so good a build-up and was such a disappointment.
It's one of my favorite monster movies.
Cloverfield Lane is way better.
Cloverfield Lane is a
That's
good movie.
the best of the Cloverfield movies.
But I see. Okay,
John Goodman could do
so
no
Joe,
wrong there.
I have this really, really weird soft spot for Cloverfield.
Okay.
Because coincidentally, I was part of the viral marketing campaign for Cloverfield.
You got me suckered into it.
It was very mysterious. Like nobody knew
I was actually involved.
What it was or what anything, and then you see this freaking big giant thing ravaging New York.
When the very first trailer dropped with Transformers, and they didn't say anything, nobody knew anything about the movie, and this trailer came out, and it was the first thing that anybody heard about it. Nobody knew what the movie was about, and then they had their little alternate reality game coming with all of the online stuff. Well, during that time, as part of the online alternate reality stuff, the 6 main characters from the movie all had MySpace pages, right? So all of the MySpace pages were bullshit. They were all created by Paramount. They were all run by Paramount marketing team. And the only people that those 6 people interacted with on all of their MySpace pages was each other. So it was kind of obvious that it was, bullshit. But
For Cloverfield, right?
for Cloverfield, yeah.
Okay.
So I sent them all friend requests.
MySpace put all their eggs in that basket.
I sent all of them. I sent all of them friend requests on MySpace, and
Jeff
they
was
all
your friend too?
they all accepted me as their friend. And I was part of like a chat forum that was following this game, so like I didn't have to do a lot of the legwork. I could just read off of what all of the other investigative work that other people did. But I was online. I was at work working at the Tyler and Kelly dealership, and I was online on my MySpace, and Rob, the main character from the movie, made a MySpace. I don't even remember what they called him now.
What was the actor's name?
Who cares?
Is he even alive anymore?
He's not in anything.
Yeah.
The only person that came out of that that was
TJ
worth
Miller.
the fuck was Lizzie Kaplan.
Well,
Yeah.
TJ Miller,
Yeah.
he got canceled.
Didn't he do a
But
bomb
he got
threat or
he got
something?
canceled for doing multiple bomb threats.
He's
actually,
still
more than
around.
one.
He's going to be okay. I think he's just
So
waiting in the wings.
what did they call those things that they were like blog posts? They weren't just your simple little posting
Forums.
Is that what they were? They were things that you could
threads.
post. I don't remember what they were
Forum
called.
threads. It's like you're
On MySpace. Yeah,
on
it was
on
like-
MySpace.
Oh.
You had your profile picture, and then you had your comments down here, and your top 8 or your top 16. or
MySpace
whatever.
had a blog.
Whatever.
And then in the up,
Whatever
and then
they were.
whatever they were in the upper right thing that was like basically their equivalent to a blog where you could post your own individual shit. The Paramount team posted a thing for Rob, and I happened to be online when they posted it. So as soon as they posted it, I jumped on there and I wrote a reply. And the Paramount team was in the middle of going through and making the post, signing into a different account, making that. And what wound up happening was in their process of going through and approving the comments from the other character MySpace pages, they inadvertently approved mine. So I got over 700 emails to my MySpace page
Awesome.
in one day from all of these people who were following this online game, who immediately wanted to know what I did for Paramount and how I was involved in the movie, and if there was anything that I could inform them about the movie. I'm not bullshitting you.
That's
I still
awesome.
have screenshots on my old computer of my picture and my comment. My profile picture at the time was Guy Pearce from Memento holding up the Polaroid, and the Polaroid that he was holding up was a picture of me. And yeah, it literally nestled in between the 6 comments from the other characters from the movie is my one little comment saying, "Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that's going on for you. I hope things get better, blah, 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 blah."
Wow.
Yeah. Over 700 messages in one day
That's awesome.
from people that were like, "Oh, so what do you do for Paramount? Is it a lion movie? Like, what is this Voltron? What is this movie about?" It was, honestly, it was really kind of irritating, but it was hilarious.
Your one day of
It
stardom.
was, yeah, it was my
You're like,
literal,
"Ah,
it was my
God,
one
leave me
day.
alone."
It was my one day of fame. And so yes, I like Cloverfield, but I have this really, really weird affinity to the movie for that reason, that it will always, always hold a soft spot in my heart, because for one very short time, people thought that I was involved in the production of a secret movie.
I don't know if the mic got that or not.
No, it did. I heard it.
Excuse me.
Well, we've been here for almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
No, it was really, really cool.
I'd say
Cloverfield, Handycam doing that found footage kind of thing for that kind of a movie. I think they did it well. I think it's a cool idea for use.
I think that was revolutionary. It's like
I agree.
it okayed doing that. Like Blair Witch was one of the first movies to do that, AAA movie, and it just didn't catch on, I don't think. But after Cloverfield, then you do see a lot more of that type of movie.
that was when you started, after Cloverfield was when you started to see, you know, you had your Paranormal Activities, you had your,
Yeah, which is surprising that Blair Witch didn't
did you ever see the
catalyze
sequel?
more. Oh yeah.
Oof.
It was garbage.
Oof.
Hot garbage.
How was
Oh.
the more recent sequel?
The remake?
Was it a remake?
It is both a sequel and a remake.
A sequel.
It's a sequel.
Which one?
Seaboot.
It's a seaboot. It's a sequel
just called-
reboot.
Is it called
What?
The Woods?
It's called Blair Witch.
Okay.
It's
Oh, they made a new one.
yeah. We circle back to the remake discussion.
Not surprising, yeah.
It is not great. It has a couple moments that are decent, but it's really like, you can really tell that their only idea for making the movie was, hey, what if we remade the Blair Witch movie, but we increased the cast so that we could increase the body count?
What a terrible idea.
Like, it really,
Like-
yeah. It's
Way to just steal
there's-
the fucking magic.
there's-
Like, what made this movie great? There were 3 fucking
There's-
terrified people freezing to death in the woods.
You know,
There's
that's what we've only been doing this really honestly like the last 20 or so years. When they've done remakes on stuff, they would retitle things under a whole new fucking brand. There hasn't been a fucking Deliverance remake. The closest thing I'd say was without a paddle, but it's under a whole different fucking
Well, have you
name.
seen the Coke bottle
Brand.
today? No.
The Coke bottle today.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Huh.
Comes in a 2 liter.
That's true.
Yeah,
Or it was used to be 10 ounces.
yeah, that's true. It's the only it's a stupid reason to like the movie because it's not a good movie, but the only reason I like the new Blair Witch movie is because the guy that wrote it is the guy that did
Honey, I blew up the Coke bottle.
You're Next. Great if you haven't seen it, and The Guest, which is also really fucking great if you haven't seen it. Dan Stevens, the guy that was on Legion, and I guess he was on Downton Abbey. I don't watch Downton Abbey, but he's a talented actor. He's
Well,
the
gotta be
lead.
if you're on Downton
he's,
Abbey.
he's the lead in The Guest, but yeah, his name is Simon Barrett, and he Your Next is a really, really fun, fucked up kind of twist on a home invasion movie. Because
I think I've seen that.
it's the one where the people show up in the white animal masks.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
It's
I've
a good
seen
show.
I've seen that it's on
It's
Netflix.
it's basically like, the idea of the movie is, what if you were at this house, like imagine yourself at like you know, the Clue movie. Imagine yourself in a situation like that that turns into a home invasion, but then you suddenly discover that some of the people that are involved in the home being invaded clearly know about what's going on. And it's like equal parts horror from home invasion and thriller from can you trust the people that are with you. And it's, I don't know, it's a really tight script. It's a good movie. It's tense and fun. It's a good show.
Nice. Should we get out of here?
Probably.
Oh yeah,
I do have a doctor's appointment in the morning.
Yeah,
I have a
it's
job
almost
in the
11.
morning.
I'm probably gonna be in trouble.
All right.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having me on here.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not very opinionated type of person, so.
No,
I do
did you have
enjoy
fun?
I do enjoy this. This is pretty great, man. Appreciate it.
Want to do it again sometime?
Yeah, sure. Pretty
Thanks
great.
for-
Maybe I might have to get another graphics card. I don't know.
Yeah, do that.
We'll look into it.
That's a bummer that
Yeah. Yeah.
I just helped my son build a computer a couple weeks ago, and he he saved up all his own money. The graphics card he put in his machine was $425.
Mm.
Jesus
Wow.
Christ.
Like a 2080,
Dude, I don't know.
2070.
He's selling
Yeah.
himself to Jeffrey Epstein. Where did he get all that money?
He's my saver of the kids. Like
Oh.
he's the one that like
He's the one
like,
that's fiscally responsible.
sets goals.
There you go.
He sets goals and he saves for them.
He's the one the other ones are going to borrow money from when they get older.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, they already do it now. So, thanks, Joe,
Cool,
for coming on tonight. I
Yeah.
hope you had a good time. It was good
Oh, it
catching
was,
up with you, by the way.
What was that?
It was good catching up with you, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
It has. It's been a long while.
A
Well, hopefully
spell.
next time you come on, we can go into delve into some other topics and kind of
Yeah. No, not a problem. No, this is pretty cool. You guys
awesome,
are
man.
great, man. So I subscribe to your channel. So
Sweet.
Awesome.
yeah, I got the evil eye going on in the living room. So
All right, man. Well, thanks, Joe. Have a good one.
Take care.
take it
Later.
easy, man. Leave there.